What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It's your host, Adam Perez. We are back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys today. We got 6 incredible topics, some honorable mentions to kick us off, some live viewer questions to wrap up the show, all that, a ton more, guys. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. We'll see you on the other side. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're certainly watching us from here today. We are back with a new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report. It is I, your host, Adam Perez, with none other than our co-host, as always, Stewart Branscombe in the house, man. Good to see you on this Sunday fine morning, wherever you are certainly at over in the Bay Area, man. It's good to see you, brother. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Good to see you as well. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I tried to get Indy back here this week. He's a little bit busy with work, so I don't believe he's going to be joining us here today. Hopefully we can have him back in the next couple of weeks. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, no, man, just big chilling this weekend. The weather is getting a little bit better. It's kind of still a little bipolar here in Texas. Some days it's nice outside, sunny, can wear some shorts, go to the park. You know, evening time, it gets kind of chilly around here. You don't got to put that hoodie on, sort of thing. So a little bit bipolar, but we're making it, man. We're making it. How are things going on your side?
Oh, weather-wise, pretty good. I think we had some rain like maybe a couple weeks ago, but now it's just been like pretty sunny outside for the most part. So yeah, pretty good weather.
Nice, dude. Yeah, I'm trying to keep my mental capacity straight. We got a lot of crazy shit going on in this world right now, so I'm just trying to keep everything as positive as I can at home. Got the opportunity to go see Undertone this week. Stewart, have you seen Undertone yet?
I am seeing it tomorrow afternoon before our podcast.
Nice. Try and grade it if you can before we go on our podcast. We will be doing if you guys missed it last Monday night, we had like a new Let's Talk Movies segment on A-Plus Hero Report. We're going to be trying to go live every Monday evening at 7 p.m. Central Time to talk about the newest movies that are currently out, or at least the newest movies that Stewart and I have gotten the opportunity to see. As of right now, tomorrow we will be talking about Undertones. I don't know if there's another movie out that I've missed or seen, haven't seen on Prime or Netflix or something like that. I'll check and see what else is out there. But as of right now, we will be talking about Undertone tomorrow. So certainly tune in with us. What else do we got on the docket? We got a couple of. I think Stewart, we might be expecting a Spider-Man and or a Dune 3 trailer this week. There's been some reports going out there that attached to Project Hail Mary might be a Spider-Man trailer. So there are talks that they might release it sometime next week. So I mean, we're getting closer. You know what I mean?
That would make sense. I mean, it's a Lord Miller movie. Plus, isn't Project Hail Mary a Sony movie?
I don't think it isn't a Sony movie. Maybe it is a Sony movie. I thought it was a different production company, but I do think it's got some executive producers attached to it that are maybe Sony's distributing it. I'm not quite sure. So I do think there is some kind of connection there, though.
Oh, never mind. It's MGM. I mean, Amazon does have the Spider-Man Noir show going up, so maybe there was like kind of a deal with Amazon and Sony there.
Yeah, you might be right. Maybe there is something kind of going on there. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled. We might have some Spider-Man and or Dune talk for you guys next week. I'll probably, if anything, if any of those trailers drop, we'll probably drop a video throughout the week before we even get into Sunday. All right. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at some of the live chat here. Speaking of the live chat, look, guys, we are live. So as we go through these topics today, just remember these are simply our A-plus opinions, but we always want to go ahead and know yours. So as we go through these topics, please let your voice be heard in the live chat. We love talking about these articles, giving our opinions, and then hearing what you guys have to say and bringing you sort of into the conversation also. So feel free to go ahead and join us in the live chat. If you want to help us out monetarily, a super chat is available for you guys if you want to go ahead and help us out. But if not, because things are tight in them streets, people are living paycheck to paycheck these days. It can be a little bit tight for everybody. If you do want to help the channel in other ways, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share, clip these videos. It certainly all helps. But let's go ahead and knock out some people that are here in the live chat with us today. Ricky Perez always coming through. Final trailer for the upcoming Super Mario Galaxy movie during Nintendo Direct last Monday. Yeah, this movie, look, Stewart, like visually, this movie just looks baller. Like I cannot, the more and more I see it, I fall in love with it. I thought the first one was okay, but man, I gotta tell you, it feels like they've upped it up a notch. Yoshi's in here. We got some new worlds. The graphics just look incredible to me.
Oh yeah,
I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get like another Sonic here, in the sense where like the first one was, you know, okay, but like mostly it was just kind of like playing it safe, trying to prove this is something that can work. And then the sequel, now that they've established their audience, now they get to go balls to the wall and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, you might be right, man. Yes, Donald Glover is actually voice acting. Oh wait, is that right? Oh yeah, Donald Glover is voicing Yoshi in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Interesting casting choice for for Yoshi.
I've been seeing a lot of really cool what do you call it, mashups, I guess, where they take like songs from Mario and then Childish Gambino songs and then mash them together, and some of them are pretty good.
That sounds pretty dope. Yeah, I do love him as Childish Gambino. It's been a minute since I had an album of his, but that's I gotta check that out. That sounds right up my alley. Let's see here. Also ahead of Super Mario Galaxy, NBC will premiere the Mario Brothers movie at 8 p.m. Okay, cool. Sounds cool. It's kind of cool. It's like, it reminds me of, like, I don't want to say Saturday morning movies or Saturday afternoon movies, but you know, showing big worldwide movies on national television. I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Saw the official trailer for Malcolm in the Middle Life Still Unfair revival series. It will premiere on Hulu very soon. Also, tickets are on sale for Michael Jackson's biopic movie. It says last week. I think it means maybe next week. I don't even know when the movie comes out. It's definitely in April. I can't remember when in April though. But yes, tickets are officially on sale. We did post the brand new trailer and posters on the Facebook page if you guys haven't checked it out. And finally, Victoria's spinoff series Hollywood Arts with Danielle Monet has wrapped production, and the original cast to confirm the return. It will premiere on Netflix and Nickelodeon in 2026. Very cool. Peg C, what's up, Peg C? How's it going, guys? Good to see you as always, man. Good old Ram Jam coming through. Marcelino in the house. I went to the Alamo Drafthouse Theater in San Francisco to try and see Stewart, but couldn't. Oh well. Really?
They're going at the worst time because like the best theater is basically the best auditorium is like under construction. So yeah, hours are also like really small there because of like you know, the big theater being out.
And then Marcelino says, well, at least you guys are talking more about lesser known movies and not just big franchises. Yeah, our let's talk movies. What did we talk about last week? We talked about The Bride. We had War Machine from Netflix, and
which I did see after hearing your review of it.
What'd you think, Stu?
I thought it was fun. I felt like the last 20 minutes was kind of when it like kind of fell off for me, but I think like everything leading up to that I really liked. And yeah, Owen Richardson is really is a good actor. I love it when you get an action star who can also emote a lot.
I was really surprised. Like I haven't seen him in Reacher. I haven't watched the Reacher series before, so this is like my first time really getting an opportunity to see like what he can do. And yeah, I was really impressed for a big guy. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm hooked. Like you got me convinced, bro. So yeah, we're just gonna be trying to talk about brand new movies that release, maybe some mainstream ones, maybe some ones that are in theaters that a lot of people aren't necessarily talking about or going to see, type of thing. And then really, if there's a brand new movies that might drop over on the on streaming services, we might talk about those as well.
And we are still trying to come up with a good title for this new podcast. So if you guys can think of anything, I've got a couple. One of them might technically be plagiarism, but it depends on how the legal system sees it. Because I was thinking like at the movies, but instead of at, it's A+ the movies.
Oh, I see which. Whoa, that's trippy, bro. That's trippy at the moon. Okay. Wow, I kind of dig that. Yeah, I wonder if people would get it though.
I would hope so.
Maybe visually, if I write it out, maybe people will get it.
Exactly, it's got to be like written out. Yeah,
I kind of dig it though. Pexy, I would like to see Bart Simpson get his own spinoff. That would be interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about potential spinoffs from some animated series here today. We got Blossom in the house. What's up, fellas? How's it going? I'm doing good. Marcelino says, "Oh, Adam, I also saw the comment you posted on Facebook where there was some clickbait article saying that Elliot Page would be perfect for Robin." So, to be fair, I definitely didn't comment on it. I saw it. I did see that today, and I kind of chuckled when when I saw it, but I didn't leave a comment or anything like that. You know, the channel, the Facebook page is also run by my co-manager Reggie Sharper. He posts some things too over on the Facebook page for his Prime universe and his anime stuff that he has up there. And every once in a while he will comment on other things as well. So that's probably what you were looking at, maybe a comment from Reggie, but I have not commented on it. How many Spider-Man movies is Sony going to do? I mean, as many as they want. I got no idea. I mean, how many they got under their belt so far?
I think our good friend Vegeta can answer this one. Over 9,000.
You got your answer right there, Blossom. But yeah, all right, guys. Oh, we got more. Damn, I missed. We got DHR Ho. What's up? Good to see you, man. What is this? This is a show. We got Connor. What? Okay, Connor. Appreciate you guys coming through today. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of today's news, shall we? Let's start off our show with our first segment of the day. If I can find my stuff here today. Here we go. All right. So let's go ahead and kick this off. If you're not familiar with the show, our honorable mention portion of the show is topics that we felt you certainly deserve to know about, but didn't necessarily make our top 6. Now, there was some big news that wound up dropping earlier this morning that I wind up switching out for something else that we were going to talk about here today. So a little bit moving around of some of the stories. Something got bumped to be replaced by something a little bit bigger, if you ask me. So we do have some honorable mentions in here today. Again, topics that didn't quite make the cut, but felt that you certainly still deserved to know about. Stewart, do you have any honorable mention for us today by any chance?
Yeah, I got one. So for any power metal fans out there, Angus McSix has just released its second album. Although it is like one of the funniest things. So a little bit of quick history with this one. So the lead singer gets kicked out of Glory Hammer and it's like, okay, fine, I'm gonna start my own band with blackjack and hookers. In fact, forget the band. No, I'm kidding. But basically he starts Angus McSix, and it's like this hilarious pun on the character he played in his other band called Angus McFive. So now it's Angus McSix. So anyways, does this whole album and it's basically saying like, yes, I'm back and better than ever. And it's all in good fun. It's not like there's any like bitterness between him and the previous band. From what I understand, they're on good terms. In fact, like his the bass guitarist is one of the people that's like the keyboardist is one of the people that's in charge of the label company that produces the albums and everything. And so the fact that he's still producing Angus McSix, I would assume implies that they're on good terms. But so that's the backstory. He does this new album, he starts his own new band, new album and all that. And then next album comes out, Angus McSix's second album, the all-seeing Astral Eye, I believe it's called. And suddenly the lead singer, the one who left his own band and started this band, decides, actually, I'm done. I'm going to go spend some time with my family now. I'm done with, not like he's retiring, but he decided to step down a bit. So you basically have almost an entirely different band for this second album, but they're still calling it Angus McSix. That said, it's a fun album. I gave it a listen to. I think the catchiest song on there, it's called Dig Down, and it's basically Adam McSix, because now he's the new like lead singer in this. I don't know any of their actual names, so I'm just going by their character names. But he's a new singer. So the best song is called Dig Down. It's about Adam McSix trying to get an orc to hook up with a dwarf, and it's weirdly catchy. So anyways, that's my honorable mention. Go check out, if you are a power metal fan, go check out Angus McSix.
Okay, all right. Appreciate the honorable mention there, Stu. What else we got? We also got we got a new Daredevil poster that just went ahead and dropped here this week. We've actually, the series itself is actually set to go ahead and drop in literally like maybe a week or so. March 24th is like 9 days away. March 24th, season 2 of Daredevil Born Again will in fact be releasing, and we will be doing weekly reviews for you guys. Maybe I'll do live reviews. I'm not quite sure. I don't think we did them live last time. I think they were pre-recorded and then dropped for you guys, but we'll see. But we definitely will be focusing on season 2 once again here as well.
How is this jacket so clean with all that blood raining down it?
I love this. I really have loved all the promo stuff that they've had this year. I'm looking forward to this season tremendously. Like I expect this to be leaps and bounds above what we wind up getting in season 1. But maybe that's just me.
I think you're right too, because like season 1 was a bit mixed, and I think that was because they had like they kind of started from scratch when they already had so much film, so they had to work around what they already had. Whereas this, it's like from what I understand, they already know what they're doing. There was never any point where they're like, we need to start all over again. So it's, it's not going to feel like it's written by 2 different people basically.
Yeah, absolutely. We also got some K-pop Demon Hunter news. According to Deadline, the sequel has been confirmed by Netflix and Sony Animation. Following the worldwide success of the first film, Netflix has confirmed a sequel to its animated pick. Sony Pictures will produce the film. The sequel marks the first project out of the exclusive multi-year writing and directing deal across animation. There was some word that if anything, while we are going to be getting ourselves a K-pop Demon Hunter sequel, it may be some time. Looks like it might be dropping sometime in like 2029 or something like that. So it might be about 3 years away. I'm not quite sure exactly how deep into production or pre-production, or if they've even really started that type of stuff. But K-pop Demon Hunter sequel on the way. Just no official timeline as of yet. Also want to shout out to Tony Robinson for certainly coming through today. Appreciate you. We got JoJo in the house. Good to see you, JoJo. Thank you so much for coming through. What else we got honorable mention wise? Oh, I think I pulled this, but I think this is actually meant to be for the main story. Let me see. What else do we got here? Oh, we did get ourselves a brand new Disclosure Day trailer. Stewart, did you see that by any chance?
I have not. No.
I did, but I haven't had the opportunity to. I don't know if we'll talk about it here too much today, but yeah, if you guys want to check it out, there's a new Disclosure Day trailer for you guys. We also got the hunt for Gollum in the news this week. Believe it or not, Deadline is reporting a new female lead in the movie being played, or at least in talks to play. We got Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet is set to join Andy Serkis's The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, and what's been described by Deadline by sources as a female lead, although the role has not been disclosed. Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson spent most of last year coaxing Kate Winslet to appear in the film, which means uprooting to New Zealand to shoot her scenes in the film from late May through October. I mean, this is a huge win. I mean, she's I think she's probably been a multi-Oscar winner, if I'm not mistaken, also, or at least multi-nominated winner. Kate Winslet is a powerhouse, man. So to be able to pick her up for The Hunt for Gollum, a huge win if you ask me, Stewart.
Mm-hmm.
Really looking forward to Kate Winslet does there. Marcelino says rumor has it that Anya Taylor-Joy will be the main female role in The Hunt for Gollum. That might have been the case, but if anything, I would assume maybe Kate Winslet is the one that pulled it out. I mean, it's talking when the art deadline reports it as the female lead. So yeah, I believe if that was a rumor, looks like maybe that might have been the spot Kate Winslet just took over. So we'll see. There was another one I had. Let's see if I can find it here. John Rambo is back in the news. I may not even need to pull up an article for that. But John Rambo is back in the news because Sylvester Stallone has finally attached himself to this particular project. We had talked about John Rambo in the past, and one of the things that I said was, I kind of find it curious that this is like the first Rambo movie where Sylvester Stallone is not attached to it in any way, shape, or form. But I guess he is now jumping on board to help executive produce the prequel John Rambo. So yeah, our boy Sly is now officially attached to the project.
I think it was because the director knew he slipped up in that one interview and was like, crap, I need something to give us good press now.
Yeah, perhaps, for sure. And then last but not least, your favorite fairy, Tinkerbell, is in the news here this week. Apparently, according to Deadline, there's a live action series based on Tinkerbell titled Tink. Is currently in the works at Disney Plus. Yeah, she's getting the live action television treatment. It says Deadline understands that Disney Plus is developing Tink, a drama series featuring the character. The studio has been plotting an updated version of the classic character originally, and is a major project for the streamer. So they're pretty dead set on trying to make this one work. There was a live action feature named Tink, was in development back in 2015 with Reese Witherspoon set to play the role. That project was retooled in 2021. And yeah, just like and then 2023, Blackish star Yara Shahidi played Tinkerbell in the live action film Peter Pan and Wendy. So yeah, Tinkerbell's trying to come back and have a live action television series. So yeah. Tony Robinson says, so I'm guessing Sabrina Carpenter will be Tinkerbell. I mean, maybe it lines up perfectly for her. Who knows?
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, that will do it for our honorable mentions portion of the show. Marcelino does have a question for you. So Stewart, is this what you want from live action remakes instead?
Honestly, I'll take this over. I mean, I know they already did a live action Peter Pan remake, but I would, take a Tinkerbell movie over a Peter Pan, like Disney generic Peter Pan remake for sure.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that I still haven't seen that Peter Pan and Wendy movie. But one of the people that worked on it, I think, also worked on Skeleton Crew, if I'm not mistaken. Because I believe wasn't who was the guy from Skeleton Crew in there? Why am I drawing a blank now? The main character.
Oh man, why am I drawing a blank now?
The pirate. Why am I drawing a blank on his name now? He was just in that movie too.
Oh, Jude Law.
Jude Law. Yeah, I think he played. Yeah, Jude Law.
Oh wait, was he Captain Hook?
He played Captain Hook in that movie. Yeah. Oh, I have been wanting to see it. Yeah, I've been wanting to see it ever since I saw Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, it's like I think that like they probably do get some really talented like directors and writers to work on these movies, but like I feel like there's just probably so many studio mandates for what has to be in it to where it's like there's no room for like actual creativity in them. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is that just they haven't gotten a single good writer and director to work on these movies. I don't know. But no, I think it's more likely the latter, like just Disney very strict like mandates that makes it like impossible to be creative, but who knows?
All right, guys. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and kick off. Before we even kick off our main topics, bro, I need a sip of my coffee, man, to give me that energy. You know what I mean? Have you had your coffee today, Stu?
I still have my coffee. Haven't finished it. Nice.
We need that energy, bro. I I gotta mow my lawn this week. The weather's getting better out here. This is what I'm dreading, honestly, that aspect of it.
Also, I actually, yeah.
Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Oh, Steve? I was gonna say yes. I actually do like that movie, the Cinderella live action Disney remake.
You know, I don't think I've seen it yet, but I have heard good things about it. My little boy, believe it or not, you know, we've got a book of fairy tales. It's got like maybe like 8 or 9 different fairy tales in there, and he's got like 2 or 3 fairy tales that he constantly wants to reread over and over again. And Cinderella is one of them. He loves this fucking story, man. He loves this story. I even played the original like 1950s animated Cinderella for him. I mean, he was hooked for like a good 30-40 minutes before he went off and did something else, and then eventually came back and finished off the movie. But you know, I was talking with the girlfriend yesterday, and was thinking to myself, or she mentioned, she's like, maybe we should play the most recent Cinderella movie for him and see how he likes it. And I never thought about it before, but maybe I just haven't seen it, but I've heard good things about it. Last time we talked about Cinderella remake, you said that you thought it was okay, but you weren't a fan of the same way that most people were. I haven't seen it. I want to check it out.
I would still like mostly stand, because I know that some people say they loved it. I would definitely want to say that, but I would say that I enjoyed the Cinderella remake. It's a million times better than a lot of other Disney live action movies. But yeah.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and kick off today's show with our main topics, baby. We got 6 incredible ones for you guys today. We got some big DCU updates. As the 2026 year kicks off, we've got a couple of DCU projects to look forward to. We got Supergirl in the summer, Lanterns in the fall, and then we've got Clayface towards the tail end of the fall. But we got some DCU updates for you guys today. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is back in the news. The brand new revival that we know that they were working on is in the news today. Not the best news, unfortunately. You anime fans, The Legend of Aang is in the news here this week. The director is speaking out in regards to the project's development, along with the idea of it no longer being in theaters. And then a couple other big breaking news that wind up dropping earlier today. If you guys are Nathan Fillion fans and Firefly fans, we do have some news for you guys later on. But let's go ahead and kick this off with The Man of Tomorrow. This movie is getting closer and closer to production, beginning sometime this spring, if I'm not mistaken. We've been hearing a bunch of big names attached to this in regards to Brainiac possibly being the main villain of this movie. We got Maxima, who is set to go ahead and make her debut as well. And then we just continue to get more and more information in regards to other names that will in fact be joining. I think a lot of us are under the assumption that Peacemaker's probably going to be in this movie. Characters are coming together for this one. This is starting to feel like a DCU sort of crossover event type film, if you will, like in the veins of something like Civil War almost. But we'll see how this winds up coming together. But the reason why we're talking about this week is especially fresh off of having a brand new Lanterns trailer that wind up dropping last week that we talked about. I don't want to say marketing or promotion for Lanterns, but Aaron Pierre is making waves here this week, as he will in fact be in Man of Tomorrow. That's right. They have officially announced Aaron Pierre as John Stewart will also be joining this already full cast of Man of Tomorrow. There's no word whether or not Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner's coming back. We haven't heard anything yet in regards to Hal Jordan being in this movie, but John Stewart certainly is. Let's go ahead and dive into this article here. Let me see if I can pull this up. I believe this is from Hollywood Reporter. Yes, here we go. Hollywood Reporter Aaron Pierre joins DC Studios Superman sequel Man of Tomorrow. Is this sharing? It's not sharing, huh?
Nope.
There it is.
There
finally.
It is.
A little bit delayed in popping up. But let's go ahead and break this one down. In Brightest Day and Blackest Night, Aaron Pierre will face the Man of Steel's might. Okay. Pierre, who is already playing Green Lantern, is joining the cast of the sequel to the 2025 Superman. Gunn wrote the script and is directing Man of Tomorrow, which is due to begin production this summer in Atlanta. Let me see here. The movie is set to bring back much of the cast. Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, Eve Taskmacher, among others. Heroes returning include Hawkgirl, and also the Engineer. Looks like the Engineer is set to return. Production is scheduled to begin in April in Atlanta and go into the summer. Pierre as Stewart is part of Gunn's vision of having the DC screen universe. Both the DC movies and the DC television show integrate seamlessly as one story universe. Stewart is a Green Lantern, one of the space cops patrolling Earth and its sector as part of Green Lantern Corps, and his appearance make tonal sense as both Superman and Brainiac are spacefaring characters with alien origins. Pierre is making his debut as the character in Lantern's first live action outing that will debut in August. So there you go, man. Aaron Pierre making big moves here. This man is like, I don't want to say he's everywhere now, but I feel like we're going to start seeing Aaron Pierre a lot of places. He's going to be in Lanterns. He's going to be in Man of Tomorrow, and he's also going to be in Star Wars Starfighter, also, if I'm not mistaken. Which I'm really, really looking forward to. But yeah, the cast continues to come together. There are some people that Stewart talked about the idea like, oh man, this must mean that like Hal Jordan doesn't make it out of Lanterns, because he's not in this particular movie. I think we've all known for a long time that John Stewart was really set up to be sort of the main Green Lantern of this DCU that they're kind of establishing. This movie is a very far, long time away. So I think there's plenty of time for other casting announcements to certainly be revealed to us. So who knows? Maybe I didn't see Nathan Fillion's name on there anywhere in this article as Guy Gardner. Same thing goes for Hal. So I am kind of curious if they have any impact in this movie or not. But I'm excited to see what Aaron Pierre can kind of do opposite, David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. I think he's a phenomenal actor. So I am going to be most curious to see how he plays opposite a lot of these characters here. But you hear this news, Stewart, of Aaron Pierre joining Superman, Man of Tomorrow. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's getting a little overcrowded? Do you think that that talking point's a little bit old at this point, based off of in a huge ensemble cast we've seen from Superman and others? Or how do you feel about this?
I mean, yeah, the more I look at this, the more I think that this is not a Superman movie, which is something that James Gunn did kind of imply earlier on. Like he does say, like when people ask about the Superman sequel, he does say, I wouldn't necessarily call this a sequel, things like that. So I think this just kind of goes to show this is really less of a Superman sequel, and it's really more just kind of, I guess you could call it like a prequel to a Justice League. Like what would be another way of calling it? You could almost call it a Dawn of Justice.
Dawn?
if only that name, like if that name wasn't taken, I feel like this movie would have been perfect for that title, Dawn of Justice, because that's what this is kind of coming off as, with all the characters being added to this. Yeah. It's interesting though. I kind of am more intrigued about this movie now, knowing that this isn't really going to be like, I assume Superman will probably be the main character with among all the other superheroes that are in there. But with how many characters are coming into this, I am curious, like, is this still going to feel like a Superman movie, or is it actually going to feel like they're setting up the Justice League? My only concern with it though, and this is something that James Gunn has talked about in the past, saying that this is not what he wants to do when structuring his universe. He doesn't want movies that exist for the sole purpose of setting up other franchises. And so far, and this is only because we haven't heard that much other things about this movie, it does kind of come off that way a little bit, that's what this movie is that it's there to set up other things going forward. And I say that because we know that there's a Justice League movie that will be coming at some point in the future. And I just hope this movie isn't just like one really big prequel to that. That being said, though, I do look forward to seeing, especially given what we've seen from the Lanterns trailer, seeing how very down to earth both Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan seem to be compared to like the characters we've seen throughout other movies within this DC universe. So it will be kind of cool to see him like in the dynamic he has with the other superheroes that he's going to be working alongside with.
Yeah, I think if there's anything that really fascinates me, it is the idea of like I'm always curious to kind of see how, like for instance, right, we have Superman that introduces us to Guy Gardner and how James Gunn envisions Guy Gardner as a character. And now we're gonna have Guy Gardner pop up in the Lantern series, which is not written, it is not directed by James Gunn. So I am curious as to how writers like Chris Mundy and Damon Lindelof view Guy Gardner, and if he even feels like the same character from Superman into Lanterns, or if he will feel significantly different, right? Like one of the interviews that Nathan Fillion said promoting Lanterns or promoting whatever he was going to be in, said that in Lanterns he drops the most F-bombs that he's ever dropped before. And I'm like, there was like no F-bombs to even be found when it comes to the Superman movie, right? So there definitely seems to be a different, I don't want to say a fully different take on the character, but maybe because he's around Superman, the Blue Boy Scout, maybe he's got to keep his language to himself, know what I mean? Maybe he talks about that in Lanterns a little bit. Like, yeah, hanging around the Blue Boy Scout all day, I gotta watch my language, but now I'm just free to do whatever I want, right? So, like, I am kind of curious to see how somebody else views these characters. So now, you talk about the idea of taking Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart from Lanterns and putting him into Man of Tomorrow. That will be written by James Gunn and directed by him. I am kind of curious as to how true to the Lantern series they'll keep him. Will James Gunn add some additional flavor to the character to make him fit a little bit more into Man of Tomorrow? Does he give him a little, I don't want to say a lighthearted side, but like a jokey side to him, or a little bit? Like, I am just kind of curious as to how they take these characters that other people have written and will also kind of view him. I kind of look, there's a part of me that really kind of digs the idea of this does remind me a little bit of Civil War. And even though the idea that we all knew kind of going into the movie that yes, this is a Captain America movie, I think our worry too in that film was, oh my goodness, is it going to feel like a Captain America movie? Despite having so many people in it. And to me, it certainly did. It still felt very Cap related, even though you had really strong supporting characters like Robert Downey Jr. in there as Iron Man and the Winter Soldier also, right? So there is a part of me that kind of views this more in the realm of a Civil War, even though it's not necessarily Superman's sequel. I still think that Superman and Lex Luthor will certainly be at the core of things. But I had fun in regards to Civil War to kind of see how those other moving parts all played a role in regards to either fighting each other or saving the world or whatever the case might have been. So to be able to kind of see everybody else get involved in this, I think it'd be a really interesting one. And it is the case of like, especially since it is Brainiac, it kind of makes a lot of sense that even though, yes, we do have two formidable people in Superman and Lex Luthor, just the scope of the threat that is Brainiac. And then also, if you're talking about adding Maxima in here as well, it's probably very much like all hands on deck in this film. And so while I do think this is maybe a prelude to some type of league setting, James Gunn has talked about the idea that the Justice League movie is like not in our forefront at this time. I do wonder if that is the potential build. Like, look, I don't know if James Gunn is going to wait all 10 years to finally give us Justice League by the 10th year or not, or somewhere in the middle of all of that. But I could easily see this being like a a litmus test in regards to like just more heroes who have the potential of eventually being on a league, kind of coming together prematurely in this manner to eventually form something. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Aaron Pierre can really do in this film. If anything, I'm really curious to see how he works opposite of his peers when it comes to the world of superheroes, right? Like Guy Gardner, how they've been doing this for such a really long time. I do wonder, because Jon Stewart is still a rookie, how he would view being a part of this ever growing kind of universe that he's now kind of being introduced to. And I think that'll be a really fun element for the film itself. So I'm looking forward to it. This feels more like Civil War to me than necessarily like a Dawn of Justice type film. Like I get it. Like you're right. It does feel like just ammo for Snyder cultists to be like, he's just doing the Zack Snyder treatment, you know? Like I get it, but I have a feeling this will be a little bit more involved, like something like in Civil War compared to Dawn of Justice, which, you know, gave us hints that there were other things out there, but it really wasn't until we got to Justice League for that big combination of everybody here. But yeah, it feels more Civil War than Dawn of Justice for me.
I will clarify, when I said like Dawn of Justice would be a perfect name, I meant like just in terms of what it seems they're building up to, not in terms of how similar they are. Because yeah, there are no real similarities between this in terms of like what actually is going, from what we've seen is going on in the movie compared to Dawn of Justice. But just in terms of like all characters that are being set up and knowing that we're eventually going to get a Justice League, I feel like Dawn of Justice would have been a perfect title for this movie had that title not already been used.
Yeah, no, probably would have been for sure.
But yeah, like I kind of agree with you that this does feel very similar to like Civil War, how you like that still felt like a Captain America movie, even though you had all these other characters there. I also love what you said kind of in the beginning, because I had a funny thought. Like, I know in James Gunn, he might actually put something like this in the movie. But the idea of maybe people are purposely like censoring themselves around the Man in Blue. They're like, I don't want to swear in front of the Boy Scout. So like you can have like a moment where it's just like Nathan Fillion and Aaron Pierre, like, you know, just together, like, why doesn't anyone swear around this guy?
Yeah, dude, I can't. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they all kind of come together. You know, I think Superman did a really good job in just setting up that this is the world that we kind of live in, right? Like the case of maybe solo adventures is not necessarily more common than we think, right? Like the idea that this world is so populated with metahumans that maybe every movie is going to have some level of additional side characters that are superheroes, right? I mean, even in the Superman movie, we get to see Superman taking a break because he's got Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl and others like literally taking on a creature by themselves, sort of thing, right? So the idea of like just a individual solo adventure, not to say that we won't get those in the DCU movies. I expect Supergirl to kind of be more of a, well, I guess that's not even necessarily solo, because you got Lobo potentially in that movie also, right? I mean, this is just a world that's populated with so many heroes that it's hard for, I think, a lot of them not to be included in these adventures in some way, shape, or form. It does feel very much like Superman and his super friends type of thing for the DCU, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of, you know, what your script calls for. Can you keep a focus with a big ensemble, you know?
Mm-hmm. As long as it's there because the story needs it, not because you're just trying to sell as many toys as possible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Marcelo says, I hate the idea of other heroes outside of Superman mythos being here. I just want a good Superman standalone movie that only focuses on Superman related characters. I mean, that certainly would be nice. I mean, he has talked about the idea that this is not a Superman sequel, which you've referenced, Stewart, earlier. Maybe we will get that in a future Superman 2 if we get that far. There are many Hal Jordan fans that either wanted Hal to be the main Green Lantern or at least in his 40s, so he's technically in his prime. It can be in more projects. I mean, I understand that. Trust me, I understand that. Hal Jordan is a fan favorite for many, for sure. But so is Jon Stewart. But I mean, I definitely get it. I'm not opposed to that. But I do, it's just from a creative standpoint, I guess, of where you want to place the beginnings of your universe and telling your story. So is where we find ourselves at. But who knows? I have no idea what the fate of Hal Jordan is going to be. I still very much I'm still very much on that parallax theory. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back as a villain at some particular point in time. I know a lot of people weren't necessarily a fan of the 0 Hour storyline or the parallax stuff, maybe back in the 90s. But I think it's a prevalent and powerful enough story that could be adapted if they certainly wanted to go that route. May not be what a lot of Hal Jordan fans would like to see out of their hero, but I think it would be a fascinating departure from everything else that we've kind of seen before. But I get it. Tony says, so we're some type of league. Yes,
some kind of league of justice. I guess you could say we're super friends.
Why doesn't James Gunn just do a traditional Superman sequel? He should prioritize that and just have other heroes appear in a terrific spinoff. I am still waiting for this damn terrific spinoff. But what do you think, Stewart? Do you think that we should just have a traditional Superman sequel, or what? I mean, it does feel odd to me that we don't, because I think that's what most people complained about. Man of Steel was like, bro, we literally got one Man of Steel movie. Like we really wanted a Man of Steel 2 for like the longest time, and we never got it. And James Gunn comes in and he's like, you know what, a Superman sequel? Nah, we'll wait for that. Like, dude, we that's all we want for like the longest time.
Yeah, okay, so like if it were me personally, if I was like deciding what movies we would see next, then yes, I would definitely have preferred a straight up Superman sequel, because I just think you can tell a much more personal story when it's just like focusing on the Superman mythos, and then I think you also have just plenty of characters to work with within that. As we see shows like Superman and Lois doing such an incredible job working with characters only within the realm of Superman, and even then there were still more characters they could have used in that show that they didn't have access to, that like a Man of Steel sequel could have done. So yeah, personally, if it were me, that's the direction I would have gone in. However, and I've been saying this a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it until like I finally get a miss out of him. This is so far, James Gunn hasn't let me down in terms of like how he's been structuring this universe. I've been really liking everything he's been doing so far, even though like I stand by saying that the Peacemaker finale was underwhelming. I didn't think it was bad. So and in fact, I do still, I am still very intrigued to see where he's going to be going now with, oh man, why do I keep forgetting the name of, I keep wanting to say Sanctuary, but I know it's not Sanctuary because that was the therapy from the therapy place from the Tom King series. But Salvation. The prison Salvation, yes. Okay, I know it's an S, but my brain keeps wanting to say Sanctuary for some reason. It's like, no, that's something very different. So anyways, with Salvation, I'm really excited to see where he goes with that, especially because he seemed really excited to put that into the finale. So until I get a miss out of him, I'm trusting James Gunn with this one. I feel like he's probably got something really good cooking with this, so I'm still really intrigued. But yes, if I were deciding, and if it wasn't James Gunn behind this, then yes, I would personally prefer a straight up Superman sequel using only like characters within the Superman mythos, maybe Martian Manhunter as well, but nothing like, I wouldn't have like characters like Green Lantern or Batman or Wonder Woman in it. It would just be kind of like, Metropolis and Smallville. That's where I would kind of keep it.
I like it. Who else we got? Tony Robinson says that I don't mind something different. People always want the same run-of-the-mill stories. I am fascinated as to what this Brainiac and Maxima story can certainly be. James Gunn has come out and said that he's not purposefully adapting the Panic in the Sky storyline that sees both Brainiac and Maxima. So I am kind of curious what route storyline wise that he's certainly going, but I am up for doing things a little bit different. So we'll see. But that's not the only DCU news that we have here this week, Stewart. Speaking of Superman, let's go over to his cousin, Supergirl. There's look, I don't know if I should be concerned about this, or if this is just run-of-the-mill Hollywood and it kind of happens all the time. There's very few times that I've heard about this happening. So I don't know how often it does, but apparently, despite Supergirl getting ready to premiere later on this year, I believe it drops in June, I believe, or July. This movie is currently in post-production, but believe it or not, Stuart, they are now getting yet another composer for this movie. This will officially make 3 composers for the Supergirl movie now. According to comicbookmovie.com, it says here Supergirl is now on its 3rd composer just 3 months before it's released. It says we have yet another Supergirl surprise for you today, as the movie has just lost its 2nd composer. In February, a press release confirmed that Game of Thrones composer Ramin Djawadi had quietly stepped away from the project. He had been replaced by AKA Junkie XL, a longtime Zack Snyder collaborator. Well, without explanation, he too is no longer working on the movie. A far less prolific composer has now boarded Supergirl, though, as Claudia Sarn from the Book of Eli and End of Watch is taking over. None of their work is remotely similar, making it hard not to wonder whether DC Studios is struggling to find the right tone for a movie that looks far less visually stunning tale than the comic it's based on. DC CEO James Gunn has likened Supergirl to Guardians of the Galaxy. It's based on a Tom King book, but doesn't follow it religiously, but it has a lot of the core of that there. This isn't the first time DC Projekt has had a composer issue. Superman was supposed to feature a score by Suicide Squad composer John Murphy. However, relatively late in production, he was joined by David Fleming, who seemingly took over. DC Studios appears hesitant to spend money on talent, but it's currently unclear whether that or creative differences were behind this. At the very least, it suggests that big changes are being made to Supergirl ahead of its film release in June. Stu, look, I maybe I'll have to look this one up because I'm really not familiar with how often movies go through composers like this. The only other time I remember is really the John Murphy stuff from Superman. And if I could be real with you, I wasn't that impressed with the Superman score, honestly. Outside of maybe some of the remixes of the John Williams score, outside of that, the Superman movie music didn't really move me as much as I was certainly hoping that it would. I don't know, maybe if they had kept John Murphy on board and we had gotten all of his music, who knows? I don't know how the Superman was certainly divvied up. But for me, I definitely wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the composition for the Superman movie. So I am on the side of kind of worrying a little bit in regards to Supergirl. Sound and music are one of the senses that, especially when it comes to watching a movie, that can really kind of either engulf you into a film or really kind of take you out of it. I think a superhero theme is very important. The timing on when scores kind of come into play, depending on what's happening on the screen, all that stuff. Like, can you give me something that's emotionally arousing in the time that it certainly needs to be, or is it going to sort of fall flat and not necessarily have that impact that you certainly need in a big film like this? It definitely helps with the pace, with the tone a little bit. Of what your movie is certainly going to be, and the idea that we're now on our 3rd one really kind of worries me a little bit. One of the biggest complaints for the longest time that I had with Marvel Studios was that I don't think outside of the Avengers theme, I don't think the Marvel Studios has done a great job of composition or at all, or like musical themes or music for their movies. I think Avengers is probably the best that they've done, and I'll even give them credit for Fantastic Four's theme with Michael Giacchino. But outside of that, I feel like a lot of the other scores and themes for Marvel movies have been really underwhelming. And I think it's been one of the aspects of their films, if any, that have been maybe the weakest. And so I don't necessarily want that to be a weakness of DC Studios. I think themes are really important to kind of get me hyped. When the superhero theme kicks in, I want to be like, oh shit, like it's about to go down. Like this is the moment I've been waiting for. And, if the article is right and we are now on our third composer, all of which whose styles are significantly different, it just makes me wonder if DC Studios, I don't want to say if they know what this movie wants to be, but it definitely seems like they're struggling with finding the sound to it. And I have heard things from the screen testings for Supergirl that it's being well received, that it's being liked and stuff. But I am wondering if maybe the issues that they're having with the movie is the composition. Like maybe people just don't necessarily care for it. Like out of the test screenings, I am wondering if the music is like what's being scored like the weakest. And so maybe this is why they're trying to come in and bring other people in to score and try and find the voice for Kara Zor-El, because I do think it's a really important one, right? Like you can't just flood your movie. James Gunn loves to do this, but you can't just flood your movie with like mainstream music, right? All the time, or like what's the hottest songs that are already out there that you can plug and play, sort of thing. There does need to be some level of orchestra and composition to the music that I think, especially when it comes to Supergirl. So as somebody who didn't necessarily care for the Superman musical score, I was kind of hoping that Supergirl might fix some of those things. But Stewart, man, now I am kind of worried. Not to say that I'm not going to enjoy this movie, but I just don't know if I can rely on the music to really help me get to those points in the movie where it's like it's all kind of coming together now. You know what I mean? So yeah, I am curious to see how this is going to turn itself out. But I am a little bit worried. I don't know any other movies that have really gone through three composers, especially 3 months out before a movie has been released. But maybe a little bit more than I do in that regards. But I am kind of curious what you think about this, if you feel this is a big deal or really nothing to worry about.
Yeah, like you, I'm also confused just because I've never heard of this. I don't think I've heard of this happening, like where they switch composers this many times and this close to release date. It kind of makes me wonder, like, what kind of music they're going for, or did they even know what kind of music they were going for when they started production on this? Like, I think the thing that I think this is why I hate like NDAs, honestly, like 90% of the time, because like, I feel like this is just one of those things we're never going to get a straightforward answer to. So all we can do is speculate. But yeah, no, it does seem really strange. I think that, yeah, like I do agree that a lot of Marvel music is pretty forgettable, but I do think that James Gunn usually does a good job with his soundtracks. When it came to Guardians, yes, I know that it's really easy to look back on the actual like soundtrack for the movie, but the score for it was also really good. Like I do still really love the score, like at the very end, like during that like epic battle with Ronan at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. So yeah, even though like a lot of Marvel music is pretty forgettable, I think that when it comes to the music, there are some exceptions here and there. I do think Spider-Man's orchestra kind of remix of the original theme song is actually pretty good. I mean, I liked Iron Man 3's theme song, but I do think it was overused. But yeah, there are some that I really like. But yeah, I think that James Gunn had a good score with his movie, with the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But yeah, looking back at this Supergirl movie, going through 3 already, I got to be honest, when it comes to the music in most movies, I normally, and this would show that a composer is doing a good job. If someone like me who doesn't know music very well, I only really notice it when it really stands out. And if you don't really notice it unless it stands out, that's usually a good thing. It means you're doing your job. You're investing your audience into the scene itself. When it does stand out for like a good or a bad reason, that's when I tend to notice it more. But I gotta say though, hearing this news, knowing that they've gone through 3 composers, I think this might be one of the first movies I go into where one of the first things I think about while watching every scene is going to be the music now, because now I'm going to be wondering, okay, you went through 3 composers, was it worth it for this movie?
Yeah, that'll be a big question. I'm really hoping that I enjoy this movie. I really do. I'm looking really forward to it. I love Millie Alcock. You know, this is going to be the first movie that Anna Noguera is writing for the DCU, so it'll be interesting to see, like, especially considering the fact that we've heard that Anna Noguera has a lot of her fingers in a bunch of other content like Wonder Woman, along with Teen Titans and stuff that they're developing kind of behind the scenes. Greg Gillespie is the director, who's usually pretty spot on, really good director also. So I do think they've got a great creative team attached to it. So we'll see how the movie itself does. I mean, you know, not every movie can have the soundtrack that their trailers do, you know, and you are right in regards to at least the idea that, like, when it comes to James Gunn's movies, his soundtracks tend to be pretty good, but this isn't a James Gunn movie, right? Like, this is technically a Greg Gillespie and Anna Noguera type of film, despite, you know, even though he is sort of the CEO over there and has certainly a lot of say. You know, if anything, I mean, third composer in, I feel like this is definitely hey, tag James Gunn, and, you know, we're having problems trying to figure out who to bring him in here. Maybe he can kind of help fix this here for us. So we'll see what this movie turns out to be. But third composer for Supergirl 3 months before this film's release. We'll see how the sound and the music itself certainly holds up when we get there. But let me know your thoughts on the DCU updates that we have. Aaron Pierre joining Man of Tomorrow, and Supergirl going through her third composer. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. And with that out of the way, let's move on to our next topic. Buffy fans, where you at? Where you guys at? Come on, Buffy fans. I know, listen, man, we have been celebrating Buffy for like the longest time around here. Ever since news broke that they were going to be doing themselves a revival series. We do know that Hulu ordered a pilot order, if I'm not mistaken. The director, Chloe Zhao, was going to direct. I believe she might have co-written the pilot as well. I mean, they even went so far as to cast their new sort of vampire slayer, if you will. I think her name is Kira Armstrong. I can't remember her name off the top of my head now. Fresh off of Skeleton Crew, got this great opportunity to work alongside Michelle Gellar as the next vampire hunter. And I think a lot of us were really stoked. I mean, the idea of a pilot series, we're like, yes, we are one step closer, Stewart, to this becoming a realization. Unfortunately, that dream has been slayed, y'all. According to Deadline.com, the Buffy reboot or revival is no longer going forward. That's right. The series has canceled before it officially even began. Buffy reboot starring Sarah Michelle Gellar not going forward at Hulu, according to the article. Hulu has opted not to proceed with its Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot, starring and executive produced by Sarah Michelle Gellar. She broke the news to fans on Instagram Saturday morning. The news comes a year after the streamer ordered a pilot for the project, tentatively titled Buffy New Sunnydale, with Oscar winner Chloe Zhao directing from a script written by Nora and Lila Zuckerman. The decision follows weeks of speculation about the fate of the pilot. Sources described it as not perfect, knowing that Chloe Zhao's sensibility may not have been the perfect match for the reboot. Zhao is now riding a wave of critical acclaim for her latest movie, Hamnet, which has 8 Oscar nominations. There's also been talk about reworking the pilot as recently as earlier this week. In the end, Hulu opted not to proceed with it, but remains high on the Buffy IP and plans to regroup and mull a possible new incarnation of the beloved franchise. I hear Geller was notified Friday night of the decision, which came as a surprise to her. She had been in Austin for the SXSW premiere of Ready or Not. Here I Come. Oh, that's right. She's going to be in that movie also. Doing the press for her new movie, she shared her excitement about the Buffy reboot. And unfortunately, she said she was really sad about the news of the project's demise. So yeah, they were pretty. Ryan Kira Armstrong was the one who landed the lead opposite Keller in the Buffy pilot, playing the new Slayer in the untitled Buffyverse project. So yeah, this is an interesting one. You hear what they say, Stuart, in regards to they ordered the pilot. They let her know Saturday morning or Friday night that it wasn't being picked up. Sources claim the idea that what Chloe Zhao was going for just didn't necessarily work. It didn't feel it was not perfect. And maybe her style just wasn't necessarily fit for this particular project. But yeah, she is also nominated for 8 Oscars, or at least her movie is nominated for 8 Oscars and Hamnet. So she's clearly doing something right, but maybe not necessarily in regards to the Buffy reboot. How are you feeling about this news, man? Are you bummed out? Are you surprised? How are you feeling about this?
Definitely bummed out. I hope the pilot gets leaked at some point because I want to see what direction they were going in. I want to know whether or not Hulu was smart or dumb to turn this down. Like right now, I'm still leaning more towards dumb for one particular reason. This is not the first time a Buffy reboot has been pitched to Sarah Michelle Gellar before. This is the first time Sarah Michelle Gellar has seen a pitch for a Buffy reboot and thought, this could actually work. So, this was like such a rare like opportunity kind of gold nugget moment. So I'm just kind of like, what happened? What was it about the pilot that the network didn't like? This is why I think, what they should do during pilot seasons, they should start, releasing pilots to like audiences too, or like, not like everyone, but at least like to some people who like, review television, as like part of their job or something, someone with like a good following, someone like us now. But yeah, I do think that other people should they should at least get like the thoughts and views of like other people instead of just like having these executives that like watch a pilot like once a year but don't actually like watch TV or movies making these decisions. So yeah, it's so freaking weird that this isn't getting picked up. Again, maybe the pilot was trash, maybe, but like again, this was something that Sarah Michelle Gellar was down for, and that's something that we haven't seen before when it comes to Buffy reboots. So I really want to see this pilot. I really want to know what this had going for it, what this could have been. It's too bad, because of course you guys all know I'm a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan. It is like one of my all-time favorite shows. So I'm really bummed out to see that the reboot is not going forward.
If I had some tissue, I would give you some right now, Stuart, because I could see the tears just building up and welling up in your eyes, about to come down any moment, man. Look, I definitely watched my episodes of Buffy. I definitely didn't watch it religiously, that's for sure. But I know the hunger that I feels like there is for like Buffy content, or at least fans in regards to how much they absolutely love this show. So I was really happy and excited for fans to kind of get the opportunity to see the return of Buffy here. And I honestly thought this was like a home run, to be quite honest with you. I thought this was like a given. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar's back. She's passionate about the character again. She finally found somebody in Chloe that like matches what she envisions for the character. They got a brilliant young actress to go ahead and help revive this series a little bit as a new vampire slayer. This just felt like it had the building blocks for a very successful sort of revival series. And so even for me, this kind of threw me on my ass when I found out that it was certainly not going to happen. The article does go on to say that like they thought about retooling it, and then I guess they decided against it, and that's why they decided to go ahead and just kind of cancel it. But that they still have high hopes in usage from utilizing the Buffy IP. My question is just like, like you said, Stewart, right? Like Sarah Michelle Gellar hasn't been attached to anything Buffy in the longest time, and the fact that you finally got her to accept something is like, this is the direction we should kind of go. So if they still have hopes for the Buffy IP, there's a part of me that's just going to think to myself, like, one, are they going to run it by Sarah Michelle Gellar now? Like, does she even want to do anything Buffy related anymore now that you've like crushed her hopes from not pulling the trigger on this project anymore? Are they just going to go ahead and just create their own Buffy thing now, minus having Sarah Michelle Gellar involved or Chloe Zhao and things like that? So I am curious as to if not now, when and with what, right, is the big question that I would certainly run past them. It does make me also curious about Chloe Zhao a little bit more also. And I say that because it just feels like anytime that she's attached to like some type of big IP or franchise IP sort of thing, something bites her in the ass. Like, I know it turns fans. I know it does, but it's also a divisive movie for a lot of fans as well. And now she goes on to something like Buffy, and then now that certainly gets canceled. Like, it just makes me wonder if like just the type of style that Chloe brings to the table it should be utilized more in like original content or other types of other things she might adapt, whether that be books or poems or just something more original, instead of kind of tapping into these big IP things. So it does make me wonder what Chloe Zhao, I don't want to say future in Hollywood is, because she's going to have a bright future regardless. Like when it comes to movies, Chloe Zhao tends to knock it out of the park when it comes to her own thing, right? So I think she'll be fine there. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if after this, we don't really see Chloe Zhao's name attached to any other big IP, whether franchise IP from like Disney, not Disney, like, well, maybe Disney, maybe Disney, DC, Marvel, kind of going forward in regard to well-known characters. But I think Chloe Zhao will certainly be fine. I just think that this kind of closes off a segment of some of those other genres, just because of what her track history has kind of now been like. But I think she sees it. I don't think it's a thing of like Hollywood is just going to exclude her from those things. I think Chloe Zhao maybe after this also recognizes the idea, you know what, I'm just going to stick with more original content or things that are that align with the type of tone and the pace and the type of director that I certainly am, and maybe go full-fledged into those type of things kind of going forward. But I don't know if you're a Buffy fan where the IP goes from here. Like I said, if not now, when and with who? So maybe this is a couple more years down the road. Maybe we'll get something animated. Maybe we'll get something live action rebooted again. But really unfortunate news, Stewart, if you ask me. I think this is a missed opportunity. But again, we haven't seen the pilot. Maybe this is like I don't know if they'll leak the pilot or not. I hope they do. But maybe this is like one of those things when I go to my comic book convention later on in Dallas here in September. They usually have like a kiosk there or like a vendor that sells like old unreleased pilots or movies that never got the chance to be seen. Like maybe he'll have the Revival pilot on his stand somewhere, and I'll be able to check it out for you guys. But we'll see if we ever get the opportunity to see what the pilot was like.
Okay, yeah, that would be funny. Like if we were able to find it at a convention, it'd be just like the Wonder Woman pilot.
Yeah, that's where I found the Wonder Woman pilot. I got the opportunity to watch that from the vendor that sold it there. So I was like, how do you have this, dude? Like it was just on a DVD or on a Blu-ray or something like that. I remember seeing the Fantastic Four movie that way, the classic one from like the 80s, I think it was, or maybe 70s. I can't remember what year that Fantastic Four movie came out. There's another one, I think, Justice League pilot.
Yeah.
I think I saw that. So who knows? Maybe this will get leaked one day. I definitely hope that it does, so fans can decide for themselves if they should have moved forward with it. But just this is a bummer, Stewart. Big bummer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the Justice League pilot, I remember watching that and being like, yeah, I'm so glad this never got picked up. Also, yeah, I remember this. Peg C brings up the Lizzie McGuire Disney reboot, because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it that the actress wanted the show to take a more like adult like direction to grow up with its audience, but then like Disney was like, no, well, we want to target the same audience the original show did.
Oh, I didn't know that. Marcian says some say that Buffy in general is dated, it doesn't work, or that no one cares about it. A thing that Buffy was a thing of its time, and the type of tone and charm it has would not work today. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I mean, I'm sure you have to modernize a little bit of everything, but people still love vampires, right? Vampires are still a big thing. Slaying vampires. I mean, we just had a Sinners movie that focused on vampires and stuff, right? So I do think the idea, at least of a vampire type show with like people in I mean, Buffy was in high school when I remember her movie, the classic, the original movie itself. I don't know why people wouldn't want vampire slayers hunting vampires to be an out of date type of thing, but I think the tone and the charm can still work though.
100%. Like there's definitely like, you know, I'm rewatching the series, and there are definitely dated elements of it, but for the most part, like it's an easy show to like get into, even if you weren't like, you know, born and raised in the 90s. There's still like a lot of stuff that I think can still be looked at as relevant today. Even the stuff that's kind of dated, I think actually kind of helps, because then you look and you're kind of like, oh, so they predicted this way back then, you know. You know, especially when it came to like one particular episode about the internet. It's like, it's kind of funny because they get a lot wrong, but they also, what they get right, you know, which is of course the overall message of the episode, it's still very relevant today. So yeah, I think like personally, I would disagree with anyone that's saying that it couldn't work. I would say that if you try doing the exact same thing as they did with the original Buffy, obviously it's going to flop. It's going to be a complete failure. But I would assume that's not what they were going to do. Like, I do think that they were going to make like basically the essence of Buffy. What Buffy was is a show, and I don't even want to say for teenagers, because like we saw Buffy grow up into an adult, so it kind of became like a show for adults to relate to too. But it's like basically when you break down Buffy, it's a show that is essentially about high school life being told through the perspective of a vampire slayer. A lot of the obstacles she faces are just metaphors for like, you know, regular high school and then eventually life drama that you kind of deal with on a regular basis. So we just see it through the lens of a vampire slayer. But I think you could still tell that story today, you know, with like modern day issues, like, and all that kind of stuff. I feel like there's plenty of good stories you can tell within the Buffy mythos that would, you know, reflect, you know, just life like the original show did.
If anybody knows better, Stewart, it is certainly you, as the big Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan here. Didn't Josh Whedon write that show? Wasn't he the writer of that?
Yeah, he was the showrunner. I think that was what was. Yeah, he wrote and directed the original movie, and then of course was like the showrunner for the series, which is you know, years later. And I gotta say, I think that this all like kind of started thanks to oh shit, what's his name? Cyborg's actor from Justice League, Ray
Fisher.
Yes, Ray Fisher. So I think it started because Ray Fisher basically just, you know, came out about like Joss Whedon's like unacceptable behavior, basically working on Justice League. And then from there, you then get a bunch of people that worked like within the crew of Buffy the Vampire Slayer being like, yeah, Joss Whedon was an asshole. And then oh my God. And then there's one, I won't get into the details of this, but the really fucked up one was when it came to the actress that played Cordelia, when she was working on Angel, she got pregnant and Joss Whedon was like accusing her of trying to sabotage the show.
For getting pregnant. Like,
yeah, like how, like, Oh my god. So it was just fucking ridiculous to hear about that shit. So it's like, from what I hear though, he had zero involvement in this reboot, which is definitely for the best. And also hopefully zero involvement with another topic we're going to be bringing up later.
Yeah, this is a great transition actually into the next topic. I'm just gonna make this next from one former Josh Whedon series to another former Josh Whedon series. Firefly is in the news, believe it or not. Look, I loved this show when it came on. To be honest with you, I think I legit missed the show when it came. It was actually the trailers for Serenity that really caught my eye, and I was like, ooh, this movie looks great. Saw the movie, loved it, and I'm like, wait, there's a series with these people in it?
So you saw the movie before the show?
I saw the movie before the show.
Oh, that's cool. I've always been kind of curious, like because I saw the show first, so I've always been curious, like from the perspective of someone who's never seen the show, if the movie works like on its own. So do you actually really like the movie with no context of the show?
No context. Right? I had no context of the show. I just knew I love the world. I love the characters. The action was dope. This is where I fell in love with Summer Glau for the very first time. And then because I think she might have, I think she might have been in the Sarah. I try to remember if the Sarah Connor Chronicles came out before the Serenity movie. If I was like, oh, that's the girl from Serenity, or if I saw Serenity and then they came out with Sarah Connor Chronicles and I was like, Summer Glau, I'm gonna check out that show. But I checked out Serenity, I loved it. I went back and I watched Firefly. I was like, there's a series with these people in it, and I was devastated to find out just how short the run of the show itself certainly was. But when I watched the show for myself, again, I absolutely love this. Josh Whedon did a great job of creating it. But it was a very short run, very short lived. A lot of Firefly fans wanted more for like the longest time, and it unfortunately never came. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today is the day. That's right. Firefly is set to return, maybe not in the way you hoped or expected, but the band is getting back together, Stewart. That's right. According to Deadline here, Nathan Fillion says a Firefly animated series is in development with co-stars set to reprise their role. And we also have concept art officially revealed here. Let me see if I can bring this up here for you. Look at that character lineup and concept art, baby. The band is back together. According to Deadline, Firefly fans are in for a treat. Nathan Fillion has just revealed at AwesomeCon that an animated Firefly series is in advanced development based on a beloved cult sci-fi franchise. Fillion spoke on the panel at Washington, D.C., alongside Alan Tudyk, Gina Torres, Jules State, Morena Baccarin, Sean Maher, and Summer Glau. All of them are expected to reprise their role. Adam Baldwin will also lead his voice to the project. So they got a huge panel together. It looks like they were doing a podcast together, and we're doing a live taping of the podcast, and they had everybody there when they announced it. The animated reboot is being developed through Fillion's production banner, which controls the underlying rights to the franchise. Married writing producing team of Mark Guggenheim, you guys know him from his Arrowverse work, and Tara Butters are attached to serve as showrunners. And a script has been completed. Josh Whedon, who created the original series, is not involved in the animated project, but I do believe I read somewhere that Nathan Fillion did get his blessing, I guess, to do the project. Before the whole Josh Whedon stuff hit the fan years ago, people that wanted Firefly definitely wanted Josh Whedon attached to it. So I think Nathan Fillion went and at least got his blessing to make this happen. The proposed series is set in the timeline between the original 2002 television run and its 2005 feature film continuation, Serenity, expanding the universe while preserving continuity with the established lore. Early concept art has been developed, as you can kind of see here. Nathan Fillion said the dedication of Firefly fans has kept this 25-year-old show relevant. Clearly, the return of Firefly is something the fans want. More importantly, it's something they deserve.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've been leading up all week to this big announcement. After we got a Buffy the Vampire Slayer cancellation for a revival, I think we needed some good news and another revival actually happening of sorts here. But shout out to Nathan Fillion for this Firefly animated series here. How do you feeling about this one, Stu?
Oh, super excited. Because first of all, I love the concept art that we get there. That I think like it looks great, looks very much like all the characters look very similar to how they do in the show. And I love how they're able to add a little more pizzazz, specifically to Inara. What was her name again?
Inara? No.
Inara? Yeah, I think so. Inara. But yeah, I like how they're able to add a lot.
Doesn't give you their names.
Yeah, they're able to add like a lot more pizzazz to her costume than what we've seen in the series, kind of working with their TV budget. So I am very curious because we still don't see the engineer, and we also don't have the doctor in this. So I hope the two of them are also still in the show as well. I know that they were a couple at the end of the movie, if I'm not mistaken. They finally got together, so I wonder if that'll be talked about like in this series. I think my biggest curiosity, so it's like is this going to be like right after the events of Serenity, or is there going to be a little bit of a time jump?
According to this it's taking place between the series and the movie.
Oh, so the events of the movie haven't even, so that would mean we would still get characters like we would still have Wash and Shepard then, right?
Yeah, it says proposed series is set in the timeline between the original television run and its feature film continuation. So yeah, it looks like it's between the series and the movie itself.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I do hope though they don't commit to that timeline if the show goes on for multiple seasons, because I would love to see the universe after the events of the movie itself. But yeah, I'm hyped for this.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this one too, man. While yes, I do think a lot of us I do see a lot of people complaining online already about this being like an animation form. Like, why can't they just give it to us in live action? I mean, look, I get it. I get it. I don't know why they can't give it to us in live action, but I'll certainly still take it for sure. I've been wanting this thing to come into fruition for like the longest time. I do wonder if it's like maybe budgetary concerns. Maybe scheduling for some of these actors. Maybe it's a little bit harder for them to do a television series these days. I mean, we are getting to the point in streaming where I think more fans are demanding sort of quicker turnaround times for their television series to drop, right? So I do wonder if the pacing of filming and post-production and then having to get back in front of cameras, I wonder if that's a little demanding for some of these people nowadays, right? Alan Tudyk is fairly busy. Nathan Fillion's got his role as Guy Gardner now. We got Marina Baccarin, who's still doing her thing here and there, type of thing. So I do wonder if it's more of a schedule thing, if anything else, and just the demand of streaming services now. But regardless, I'm a big fan of this idea. Just being able to revisit the cast. The artwork looks stunning to me. This doesn't look like just regular traditional like animation. So it's almost like a photorealistic kind of aspect to it a little bit. It feels like the way that they're just drawn. I mean, they almost look human to me on here on this page. So I am kind of curious to see like what the rest of the animation is going to look like when we eventually get ourselves a teaser trailer. But they've got the scripts done. They've got a showrunner in place. I think they said advanced development. So it sounds very much like with everything that they have in place, like pre-production for this is probably ready to kick off at any particular moment. We got Mark Guggenheim from the Arrowverse. You tell me Mark Guggenheim is attached as a showrunner for anything, and you immediately have my attention. He also I think he might have did the show running or at least executive producing for Sabrina, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I think he's also doing the live action Scooby Doo movie as well. And now you got him attached to showrun this animated series, and I'm all for it. I think what Mark Guggenheim is capable of doing with big universes, whether that be on the DC television side of things, or even picking up a cult classic sort of sci-fi series like Firefly. This just feels like right up his alley in regards to the type of projects that he likes to shepherd in. So they seem really far along, Stewart. You got the whole cast basically returning, showrunner in place, a script ready to go. So I expect to see and hear a lot more of this development for Firefly more than anything. And I'll be excited to just see these characters again. I think that's what people have loved so much about it. Even if it's not live action, but in animation form, if these actors can bring back the same flavor for their characters that they did from the show, I think we're in good hands here, man. I'm really excited for this, Stu.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm super hyped for this. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing like the actors reprising their role in animation form. Honestly, I got to be honest, this might piss some people off. I'm kind of glad they're going animated instead of live action. I hate to sound ageist here, but I feel like we've kind of like, it's been so long since Serenity at this point that by the time we would reconnect with these characters in live action, like they would either be the exact same characters we last saw, which would mean that somehow within that 20 years they haven't changed at all, which to me is always kind of a boring way to start a reboot, or you have to have so much kind of missing in the gaps. And I'm not saying that you can't make either work. There are definitely ways you could, but I just think it's just an easier solution to just animate the series so that way age isn't even a factor. You have full creative control over the timeline. Yeah, and it just adds for a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree for sure. Um, let's see here. I'm trying to see what else you guys are saying in regards to this. Summer Glau was also in Arrow season 2, where she played Isabel Rochev, turned Slade's associate and was turned into Ravenger. That's right, she did play Ravenger in the Arrow series.
I remember being very disappointed because when she first appeared, I'm like, oh, no way, Rose is in this. And then it wasn't Rose, but they still called her Ravenger.
He also says originally there were plans to give Spike a cameo in Firefly later in the series, merging Buffy and the Firefly franchise in one. That would have been interesting.
Man, that would have meant that Spike has lived. He would have been 700 years old by the time that would have happened, because I think Firefly is like 500 years in the future, and Spike was already 200 years old in Buffy. So damn, he would have been old.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm trying to see. Pexy says the Oscars are tonight. Anyone gonna watch the Oscars? I kind of want to talk a little bit about the Oscars later. Can you do me a favor, Stuart? Can you bring up the Oscars categories, and we'll talk about them maybe a little bit later in live viewer questions, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, but yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. The return of Firefly, baby, in animation form. But are you still happy with that? Let me know your thoughts. So from one animation project to the next, Stewart, we got to talk about The Legend of Aang, The Last Airbender. This animated movie is set to pick up the adventures of Aang and the rest of his gang years down the road. It's supposed to be an animated film that was scheduled with Paramount Pictures to release in theaters. It had like 2 or 3 other previous release dates before it eventually settled on a 2026 release date. But the film itself unfortunately and unexpected by a lot of fans, the movie has now moved from the theatrical experience to the streaming service experience, as the movie is set to go ahead and release streaming exclusively. This has definitely set some fans into an uproar. Definitely had some people questioning maybe the quality of the movie itself if it's not being released theatrically and now going to streaming. And so people have been wondering what's going on with this movie. Well, this week, the director himself has come out and talked a little bit about the movie, and give us a little bit more insight. And I thought this was certainly worthwhile talking about, because we do got some new exclusive images here that are finally being revealed. The Legend of Aang. I love this poster that you guys see here right now. We also got some individual pictures too of them in their older versions. Katara. We also got Aang here. The animation style looks fucking dope. Zuko.
Ooh.
Yeah, Zuko looks pretty badass. And then we even have the whole entire group together as well. Did I miss one? I missed another individual one. But those are some
one for Sokka.
Yeah, I think so. I might have missed it and picking it up, but you guys might have to find that one. But yeah, some really great looks at returning characters here with a cool brand new poster. What are you thinking about them, Stewart?
I think they look absolutely fantastic. I'm curious who the guy with the ponytail is in the background. If that's
yeah.
Because I know Dave Bautista is supposed to be in this movie playing the villain. So I'm wondering if that's supposed to be Dave Bautista's character. But yeah, I absolutely love these character models. I wasn't sure if this was going to be, because we get like a lot of flashbacks of adult Aang during Legend of Korra, but I think that the flashbacks that we see in Legend of Korra, they look a little bit older than they do in this, and that could be like just an art decision. It could just be like, just an art direction choice, but it to me implies that this might be a little bit before a lot of the flashbacks that we see within Legend of Korra. Yeah, the two that really stand out to me, though, are definitely Toph and Zuko, both looking absolutely incredible. Yeah, I cannot wait for this. As you know, because I won't shut up about it, I fucking love Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, I am excited to see the series finally continue, not only with this movie, but also with the upcoming series afterwards. But I am still mad at Paramount for not putting this movie in theaters.
Yeah, you may not be the only one, Stewart. This our next article comes to us from Games Radar, who wanted to talk a little bit about the movie itself. Aang director confirms the next Avatar movie has wrapped, but seems to still be fighting for a theatrical release. This movie deserves to be seen on a big screen, he says. The news was confirmed by director Lauren Montgomery on Instagram. Aang movie is officially wrapped. We screened the final film for the crew and celebrated the end of a 4-year journey. Now it waits in limbo until its release in October. I've never worked on an Avatar project that was easy, and this one was no different, but it was worth it. I'm so proud of everyone who was a part of this and the amazing things we built together. Although the movie is seemingly finished, it is still expected to premiere on Paramount Plus October 9th of this year. This follows a series of delays, which saw the movie, which was expected to be released in October of 2025, be pushed back to January of 2026, and then October 2026. Its theatrical release was then scrapped entirely, and Aang moved to Paramount's streaming service. However, Montgomery promises that the movie to move to streaming is no reflection of the project itself. She says the movie is amazing. The recent decision to move us from theatrical to streaming might give the impression that the quality wasn't sufficient, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. This movie deserves to be seen on the big screen. Can't wait for you all to see it. It sounds as though there is still hope for Aang's big screen debut. Serving as a sequel, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Look, I will say this. I am glad that she says, that this the recent decision might give the impression that the quality wasn't sufficient, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I am glad that she's speaking out about this in this regards, because for me, I think had this movie, the article does talk about the idea of it having like several different release dates. I didn't realize that one of those release dates was actually January of this year. And as a lot of us tend to know, like January tends to be where movies go to die, where like movies that maybe aren't sufficient usually drop there to either be like, people just don't got the money to go to the movies after the holidays. So it's like, let me just drop this movie here. Maybe it'll go by so quickly, people won't even know it was out, sort of thing. They really try and hide their bad movies in January and even say like February at times. So I think the fact that it got delayed to January and then also moved back to an October setting does kind of confirm for me that this movie is better than some people may certainly think that it is, or be worried, I should say, that the delay or the moving of it from theatrical to streaming might mean the quality isn't necessarily there. I don't think that's the case. I think had the quality not been there, maybe they would have stayed with the January date. But I do think that they feel like pretty confident that October is a pretty good spot for this movie to certainly be released in. I will say this, Stewart. I don't think the idea of this movie not getting a theatrical release will hold up. There is a part of me that thinks either pressure from fans, pressure from the director that believes that this movie should be on the big screen. I have a feeling that they will win out in some capacity. I don't know if it's going to get a full-on run theatrically, but there's a part of me that kind of thinks maybe Paramount Plus might go the Netflix route, maybe give it like a 14-day exclusive window in theaters before streaming to its streaming service. But it's just one of those things where I just think the Avatar franchise is big enough, and we've seen the direction in which anime has done in the box office, especially in the year of 2025, that I do think people will in fact go out to the movies for this one. I think that there is a hunger for more Avatar animation. And the fact that we're revisiting characters that we love, especially as they've grown older, I just think that there's a huge fan base that has grown with these characters that would absolutely love to come out and see them theatrically. And so I am hoping as we get closer to October that maybe the box office starts looking a little bit better with some of the releases of these upcoming movies in the summertime. Maybe the director and the fans can really have a big push in regards to a pressure campaign on Paramount to have this release. And I have a feeling ultimately the fans might win out on this one, even if it is just for a 14-day exclusive window. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I don't know why. I just kind of have that feeling. I mean, who doesn't love money, right? And I think Paramount is shooting themselves in the foot if they don't release this theatrically in some capacity.
I think at the very least, it could be the 14-day window, like you said. But I think at the very least, we're going to have like kind of a Demon Hunter, K-pop Demon Hunter situation where the views are going to be so big that like immediately Paramount's going to regret not putting it in theaters, kind of like with Netflix. And I do think that if Netflix knew how big K-pop Demon Hunter was going to be, they undoubtedly would have put that in theaters. And I think that's going to be the same thing with this, with them kind of looking back and going, we really should have released that theatrically. And the only hope is that they learn from that. So if there is a future Avatar film after this, hopefully that one gets the theatrical release that it deserves.
Yeah, I'm certainly hoping so. I mean, it's just interesting. I'm glad you brought up the K-pop Demon Hunter thing, because I forgot that that's what happened with Netflix, that they released it on their service and it was so huge that they're like, oh shit, we probably should have put this in theaters and then put it in there for a limited run. To me, it's fascinating to see that now that Paramount is under new management with the Ellisons and stuff, like we're still waiting for them to actually make a good movie over at Paramount, to like showcase, at least under their leadership, that we can run a movie studio. And this being one of their first big decisions, I just think it would speak volumes if they did go the Netflix route and they released this streaming, and then all of a sudden it'd be like, oh shit, we fucked up. We fucked up. We should have put this in the theaters after all. Like it does make me question leadership over at Paramount when they make kind of decisions like this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Aang or Avatar fandom isn't as big as I think that it is, but I just feel like a whole generation of kids grew up on this stuff and have grown with these characters. And I feel like I just feel like there's a hunger for more Avatar characters to be in, you know, whether that be on the small screen or the big screen. You know, it's a rarity that I think that we get North American anime on a theatrical experience, and I just think it's a shame that it's that's not happening in this case. But I have a feeling it might. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and wait till we get closer to October to make that decision, but we'll see. But yeah, the apparently, according to the director, quality is not an issue. She is pumped for the release of this movie, as am I. But let us know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below.
Never thought quality was the problem. I just immediately was like realizing, it was likely just studio just studio execs not seeing the big picture.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. And then one from one animation to the next. Our boy, Family Guy fans, rejoice! Your boy Stewie is all grown up. That's right. We got some great details here that Family Guy is stronger than ever, so much so that we're getting ourselves a spinoff, and Stewie is going to be at the forefront, ladies and gentlemen. According to Deadline, Family Guy spinoff sees Stewie get a 2 seasons order at Fox and Hulu. So Hulu can't order a Buffy the Vampire Slayer revival, but they will take 2 doses of Stewie Griffin. Let's go ahead and pull up this article here. It's from Deadline. Oopsie, my bad, y'all. My bad. Production fail. Fire this man. Family Guy spinoff Stewie from Seth MacFarlane gets a 2-season order at Fox and Hulu, proving that one is never too young to headline their own series. They have given a 2-season order to Stewie, a spinoff of the global juggernaut Family Guy, centered on Griffin's evil genius toddler son. The new animated comedy, which will follow Stewie in his preschool and explore time and space travel. What a combination. Preschool and time and space travel comes from the Family Guy creator Seth MacFarlane. It is targeted to premiere on Fox during the 2027 to 2028 season, streaming next day on Hulu and internationally on Disney Plus. So it looks like next fall / winter of 2027 to 2028. Stewie, whose concept art you can see above, will join Fox's slate of long-running series, Family Guy and American Dad, both from MacFarlane, as well as The Simpsons and Bob's Burgers. The 2-year pickup of Stewie will sync up with the rest. The deals are all 5 animated shows are now running through 2029. According to the source, the deal for Stewie is structured differently than the others, with Fox and Hulu sharing the cost, making this a joint commission by the network and the platform. The episode count for Stewie has not been revealed. I hear slightly less than 15 episodes per season. The Legacy 20th animation series are producing under the current Fox deal. So yeah, it looks like MacFarlane, who voices Stewie on Family Guy, will do the same on the spinoff series. So MacFarlane coming back to voice Stewie. Looks like less than 15 episode seasons, and they've gotten 2 seasons from Fox and Hulu. I don't watch Family Guy enough, but I do love me some Stewie. Bring us on, man. Bring us on. I feel like Stewie's like the star of the show anyway for Family Guy. It almost feels like it's time for him to have his own show. But what do you feel about this, Stewart? Do you think Stewie can carry his own show?
I should probably start by saying I haven't watched Family Guy in so long. I'll catch an episode every now and then, but I don't watch it consistently. This is the weirdest idea for a spinoff show, because what they describe the show to be just seems like stuff that you can already do within episodes of Family Guy, because you have, from what I remember, plenty of episodes where it's Stewie in preschool doing his own antics, or a lot of times the space travel, time travel episodes will usually be some of my favorites of honestly the series, which are the Stewie and Brian episodes. So it is weird because they already have the resources to tell these type of stories. So I'm not seeing the purpose of needing a whole nother show to tell these stories that you can already tell within the show that's already been established. At least with the Cleveland show, it kind of made sense because Cleveland was a side character, so giving him his own show to tell his own stories made a lot of sense. But doing this with someone who's already a main character, I just don't see what the purpose is, if I'm being honest.
Man, I would have thought you would have been the one like, let's forging ahead. Yes, give me like 5 seasons, but no. Yeah, I don't, I mean, you bring up some good points that I didn't necessarily think about. That's because I don't really watch Family Guy in that matter. I mean, look, when I literally just said, like, I feel like Stewie's like the should technically be the main lead of that Family Guy show anyway. At least he's the one that I tend to gravitate to the most when I watch that show. So the fact that he hasn't had his own show does certainly kind of surprise me. But yeah, I mean, I guess if they already kind of tap into those aspects on the Family Guy show, but now we're just doing it full fledged. Like, I wonder if there's going to be like some connective tissue in regards to like you watch this episode of the Family Guy, and then if you want to continue the adventures of where Stewie goes after this, tap into his sort of spin-off series, so you can see what takes place between the events of Family Guy when it's like, between the episodes of what Stewie goes off and starts doing on his own sort of thing. So, I don't know. I guess I am kind of curious as to, like you said, where do you necessarily go from here? But maybe it's a little too repetitive in that sense. But I don't know. Maybe it's one of those, like, I don't know. Maybe Stewie becomes a big hit, and if they ever do take Family Guy off the air, maybe Stewie, holds down the fort in some capacity. I mean, maybe we introduced to some new side characters from his preschool that we don't necessarily see in the Family Guy, and he really sort of establishes kind of like a whole world of things that he's doing for himself that maybe even his parents don't know on the Family Guy show, throughout the seasons. But I don't know. He's such a popular character that I feel like this is a no-brainer to me. But I think you do bring up a good point in the sense of like, where do we kind of go from here, since he's already in the show and you're already focused on those things in the show itself. So we'll see. Peg C does say like, Bart Simpson would be interesting to have a spinoff show to tackle if Stewie spinoff becomes successful. Would you put Bart Simpson in that same character, in that same category though, of like maybe too repetitive?
Honestly, it depends on how with Bart Simpson it's done. Because if it were a spin-off show that wasn't connected to the Simpsons, but instead went more by the Bartman comics, like from God, what were those, like late 90s or early 2000s?
Yeah,
I feel like
then
you have
comics.
a good premise there. You just gotta and I mean, Family Guy and Simpsons are not shows that care about continuity at all. So you would just have to like ignore continuity and then just make it like a show that, yes, the Simpsons exist in Bartman, but nothing Bart does in his show affects the Simpsons television show. They're really just like side characters. But in that way, I could see a Bart spinoff working. But yeah, with the pitch that I've heard from this, I just don't really see much working about a Stewie spinoff show. The only thing I will give this credit for, and this is what kind of makes me curious, is they did mention Seth MacFarlane was going to be. Did they say he was going to be show running it, or was that he was like only voicing Stewie, or like executive producer? Because I heard his name involved in some way.
I'm trying to see. I definitely talked about him voicing. We'll do the same. Yeah, it just says voicing. Oh, it says in the offshoot after getting. Oh, hold on. Let me. Okay, maybe this will be. Okay, maybe this is another piece of the Deadline article I probably should have read. In the offshoot, After getting the boot from his old preschool, Stewie is forced to enroll in a new one that's not exactly top of the line. It's attended by a handful of kids he doesn't know and a 75-year-old class turtle with a half-cocked theory on just about every subject. Stewie's miserable, the other kids are miserable, and even the turtle is miserable until Stewie begins rolling out his trusty array of devices to take them anywhere in space and time, turning every boring day at school into an insane, surreal adventure. So it's like Stewie and the Magic School Bus, it feels like.
Yeah.
He's gonna be taking his preschool friends on space and time travel adventures.
Maybe that could work. Okay, with that little bit of added context of the setup, that might be able to work. Yeah, I guess like the thing I'd be kind of curious about is Seth MacFarlane's involvement, because I know apart from like voicing the characters, he's not really too involved with Family Guy in terms of like the writing or anything. So I'd be curious to learn if he's going to be kind of involved with the writing aspect of this. Because Seth MacFarlane,
it says Seth MacFarlane executive produces Stewie for Fuzzy Door alongside Butler, who serves as a showrunner.
Oh, okay.
So it does have a different showrunner, but Seth MacFarlane will be voicing and executive producing.
So it'll be kind of like the same role as Family Guy. Okay. So yeah, I think that my hype level is just kind of mid at the moment, but I guess the premise does seem kind of cool now that I hear like that beginning part of him switching preschools and then it being kind of like Magic School Bus. But at the same time, I do still think this premise could work as like just individual episodes of Family Guy. So we'll have to wait and see. As now, my hype is just not there.
I feel you. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in regards to Stewie getting his own spin-off series. And I do like that Bartman. I kind of want that Bartman spin-off series now. It could be like a whole entire secret life of Bart outside of Simpsons, that he takes care of crime and his own adventures. That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, before we get into our next segment of the day, we're going to wrap this up with some sci-fi talk in regards to Alien Romulus. Now, Alien Romulus was a huge hit when it wound up dropping, really kind of reinvigorating the Alien franchise. We had Fede Alvarez, who was the director and writer of Alien Romulus, to great success. We have been hearing talks for a while now that they were set to go ahead and do a sequel. We've also gotten the Alien Earth FX Hulu series from Noah Hawley, as well as Alien franchise in general seems very much back on top. But we now have further word in regards to more development for the Alien Romulus sequel itself. And while Fede Alvarez has plans on returning to the franchise, it does look as though from a directing standpoint, they will be handing off the baton to somebody else entirely. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This comes to us from Nexus Point News. Michael Sarnowski is in fact eyed to direct the Alien Romulus sequel. This is an exclusive report from Nexus Point News. Michael Sarnowski most recently worked on A Quiet Place Day One, is being considered to direct the highly anticipated sequel to Alien Romulus, is what Nexus Point News has learned. Alien Romulus writer and director Fede Alvarez confirmed in an interview with 2Fab that he will not return to direct the sequel. He says, "We just finished the script, actually, for a sequel for Romulus, but I'm going to pass the torch on this one as director. I'm going to produce it with Ridley Scott. We're going to produce it together, and we're right now trying to find a new filmmaker to come in," said the director. Sources indicate that Sarnowski is currently a preferred candidate for the job. The potential choice is not surprising given the success of A Quiet Place Day One, which also centered on the terrifying alien invasion. The film proved that Sarnowski can handle large-scale genre storytelling while still maintaining strong emotional stakes. Sarnowski has been acknowledged that Aliens served as an inspiration for him while developing the story for A Quiet Place Day One. He is also best known for the acclaimed drama Pig, starring Nicolas Cage. In addition to A Quiet Place Day One, his next film, The Death of Robin Hood. I didn't know he was doing that one. Is scheduled to release in theaters later this year. The trailers for The Death of Robin Hood have looked great. That's starring Hugh Jackman. That looks pretty raw. The plot for the sequel is under wraps, but is expected to continue the story of Alien Romulus, which starred Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson. I am a really big fan of this. If this comes to fruition, if Michael Sarnowski actually does pick up this role, I think visually, I think from a directing standpoint, I think they've got the man for the job. I mean, I haven't seen The Death of Robin Hood yet, but just from a trailer perspective and what they've been able to showcase to us, that type of style visually, that type of tone, looks really heavy, honestly. I don't know if Michael Sarnowski wrote The Death of Robin Hood. Also, I'll be curious to see what the writing is certainly like. But I was also a really big fan of A Quiet Place Day One. Also, you had two really great actors in Joseph Quinn along with Lupita Nyong'o, which I thought delivered some masterful sort of like emotional performances and really high stakes. In a movie where you have to be very silent but also very terrified, always looking around their corner sort of thing, and having these creepy sort of creatures kind of following you throughout the city sort of thing. There was a very sort of eerie and menacing feeling about A Quiet Place Day One that I was actually a really big fan of. And so you kind of take that directing style and you thrust them into an alien world. Oh, this feels like this is a home run to me immediately in regards to them really bringing in another director that seemingly not only gets the franchise but also gets the type of tone that they're certainly looking for. I would love to see him direct an Alien Romulus sequel if this holds up to be true, but I think this would be a great choice for them, honestly.
Definitely agree. I mean, the Quiet Place director, and then you take the Alien franchise. And one thing about the Alien franchise that always is one of its strengths is definitely its sound design, and that's like what A Quiet Place is known for. So. Yeah. I think this is like a great dynamic here. And then I love that we still have the same guy who's on board, not directing, but still writing the script and then producing it with Ridley Scott himself. It gets me like hopeful that we can hopefully, man, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, we can kind of go back to that unfinished like storyline that we got from the Prometheus side of things. I do think there's a way we can keep this franchise going in a way that that like is there for alien fans, like, it's there for people who really just care about the xenomorphs. But I do think you can weave the Prometheus and the story with the engineers in, and you can finally give that story like kind of the conclusion that I think it needed. So. Sorry, I'm gonna go slightly off topic for just a quick moment because I have to point out a conclusion I've kind of come up with ever since kind of like looking. I did like this whole deep dive into like everything going into the production for Prometheus, and it is kind of funny. At the end of the day, I think one of the problems is Ridley Scott second guesses himself a lot, because I think a lot of ideas he had for the first Prometheus movie, it honestly would have been better had he gone with his original plan. But I guess like everyone was or not everyone, I think specifically what's his name? The guy who's currently one of the showrunners for Green Lantern. I guess he was the one kind of convincing Ridley Scott that they should probably not make it as much of a direct prequel to Alien. And that was, while it brought some really cool ideas, I do think it also kind of scrapped a lot of really cool concepts that Ridley Scott had that unfortunately we are never going to see play out. So I kind of hope with this new dynamic with the director of Alien Romulus and Ridley Scott working together, hopefully he kind of gives Ridley Scott a different kind of support instead of saying, maybe don't do that, do this, instead helping Ridley Scott to like be more confident in his decisions rather than constantly encouraging him to second guess himself,
Yeah, no, it'd be great to have somebody there to like give him some words of affirmation, like, no, Ridley Scott, you're doing a great job. This story makes complete sense, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, hopefully gives him that positive reinforcement of like, if there are some pieces to the Prometheus stuff that he wanted to kind of tap into, maybe having somebody competent like Fede Alvarez that seemingly gets the Alien franchise also, maybe can help him flesh out those ideas just a little bit better, and actually have some connective tissue in the longer scheme of things. But yeah, man, you tell me Alien movie, I'm here for it, man. They definitely have a great revival happening with this IP, and I think this guy would be a fantastic choice for a director. But we'll see if that comes out to be true. And I gotta say, shout out to Nexus Point News too, by the way, that has become a really reliable source of information here. I tend to see them drop news like a week or two earlier, and then eventually the other other media like Deadline and Hollywood Reporter will eventually start reporting some of the things that they've kind of already talked about. Like sometimes it does surprise me, Stewart, like when we manage to talk about some things on here, like somebody was confirmed. Oh, you know what it was? It was the Catherine Hahn as Entangled as something Miss Gothel or something like that. That literally just got confirmed this week. But I remember I went back, I was like, we talked about this already. And I looked back and it was a story we did back in January, I think, that Catherine Hahn was in talks to be Entangled. I think it was from the Hollywood Reporter too, if I'm not mistaken, like back in January. They might have mentioned it as part of like some big casting. So the fact that like Catherine Hahn is just now officially announcing it, I'm like, dude, we've been ahead of this curve for like the longest time dropping this news. So it will be interesting to kind of see hopefully this one come to fruition also for Alien Romulus. But yeah, shout out to Nexus Point News for being ahead of the curve these days. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to an Alien Romulus sequel finding a brand new director. Are you bummed that Fede Alvarez won't return? I will say I did love Fede Alvarez directing work. Like I am kind of bummed that he's not coming back, because visually it just had everything. It just reminded me of classic Alien, which I think the franchise certainly needed. But Aliens wasn't the same visually as Alien. And so, maybe that's what they have in mind for an Alien Romulus sequel, is to have somebody that understands and gets Alien, but also is able to add their own vision and their own flair to the sequel. So we'll see how that turns out. But let us know your thoughts. And that will do it for all of, excuse me, our main topics today. And with that out of the way, Stewart, I think you know what time it is.
I do indeed. And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions.
And we're going to get into our live viewer questions portion of the show. How do you submit a live viewer question? I'm going to be honest with you guys, man. This week, I was a little bit slow on the take here. A little bit slow in getting this up for you guys. Usually we try and drop it every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening. This morning, I think I dropped it with literally like an hour or two to go before the live show. So I do apologize, guys. But every Saturday afternoon or evening, check out our YouTube channel. Click on that post tab as you see right there. And voila, live viewer questions. We only got 4 questions this week. That's due to me, y'all. So I do apologize for not posting this a little bit earlier. Maybe I'll try and refresh this when I get a chance before we leave. But we may be on the short end of things when it comes to our live viewer questions. Marcelino in the house. I said this last time, but when Ryan Coogler revealed about what his original plan for Black Panther 2, however, I mentioned that people already knew about that years ago, yet people are treating it as something new. However, after doing some research, here's what I found. I found an article done by Collider back in December 2022. In that article, Ryan Coogler mentioned that his original plan. The main difference is that the 2022 article is extremely vague. It doesn't go into much detail, such as mentioning the ritual of 8, but it only mentions it as a ritual. While the 2026 article goes into full detail on everything, here's my personal theory. I think Ryan Coogler back in 2022 purposely kept it vague because he was not mentally ready to talk about the full details due to Chadwick Boseman's passing. But after years, he decided to go into full detail. You're probably right. You're probably right. I think the passing of Chadwick Boseman is still very raw for Ryan Coogler. I mean, if you've seen him do an acceptance speech or talk about any movies that he's making, anytime he brings up Chadwick, he does get extremely emotional when he's talking about it. I mean, he definitely viewed this guy as a brother. And I do think that there are moments where he feels like I think he probably feels like maybe there was maybe more to their relationship he could have explored that he didn't get the opportunity to, because of the fact that not only of Chadwick Boseman being taken from them so soon, but I think him being in such early stages of his filmmaking career and having to work alongside somebody like Chadwick, I think could probably be a little bit intimidating at first, right? A little awestruck at times. So that by the time when you finally do feel comfortable with somebody, a lot of time has passed, and then you feel closer to that person only for them to then be taken away from you so immediate and suddenly. You know what I mean? So I do think that there's maybe a level of things that he regrets that he might have missed out with Chadwick, but truly kind of appreciates the impact that he's had on his career and how much he's actually learned from him. Like Chadwick Boseman, Ryan Coogler, and Michael B. Jordan. I just, when I think of those three, I tend to think of the three of them together in a sense of not only did they work alongside each other for such a long time, but they learned so much and grew such a great bond. So, you know, the idea of, like you said, maybe him having these details but not sharing it back in 2022 really comes from the idea of maybe the Black Panther movie that he made, Wakanda Forever, should be able to stand on its own in regards to a piece of work that he put together and not be scrutinized or looked at differently because of another concept that he had in mind that he wasn't able to necessarily execute, right? Like, I think that idea is like, if you talk so much about the ritual of 8 while you have a brand new movie out and it's another idea and concept that you didn't go with, maybe you would then immediately have that pushback from some fans in the sense of, oh, that's the movie we should have gotten. It's a shame we didn't necessarily get that movie. And you kind of undermine and undercut the movie that you did in fact make. So I do think it's a combination of the two. One, of the sense of maybe the passing of Chadwick Boseman, yes, was impactful enough and he didn't want to bring that stuff up due to his passing. But I also do think maybe in the idea of you want the movie that you did create to be the one that people focuses on, and you don't undercut it by the what ifs and the what you could have had type of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that, Stu.
Oh, I agree with everything you said. I think it's like a mixture of that. I also think it could be I think the other possibility is that it could be an expired NDA. So he wasn't allowed to talk about it back then, but now he is. But like, I think that, yeah, even if he was allowed to talk about it, I kind of agree with you. It's like, I think it was pretty much just, he didn't want to go into it because, you know, Chadwick Boseman's death was still fresh in everyone's mind. And we didn't want to undercut the movie by reminding everyone this is what it could have been.
My student says, well, at least we finally answered why so many people were treating it as new when a reality was brought up back in 2022. Yeah, I mean, the idea of just being able to flesh it out more definitely changes the perspective of things for sure. There's a movie that I recently saw called Killing Mary Sue. It's a comedy satire where a politician who's running for president hires assassins to kill his stepdaughter named Mary Sue, but fails every time. She always wins every scenario by using video game logic and wins every time. If you're interested in watching it, then you need to know that it was the direct to DVD and extremely cheap. Like some of the blood is black and the gunfire looks unrealistic, but I still think you can get some enjoyment out of it.
I love cheap movies, so it sounds pretty funny.
Yeah, it sounds pretty funny. I appreciate the recommendation. You remember how in the 2000s and 2010s, when there was a superhero or 80s adaptation, everything had to be dark and serious because at the time studios were afraid of being accurate, fearing people wouldn't take it seriously to the point to where they even would make original things just to justify it existing. However, if you did go back to that time, what is an adaptation that you would like to see be dark and serious because there's a great story to be told? That would be what would that be? What is an adaptation that you would like to see if you had to ever go back to that time? What is an adaptation that you would like to see be dark and serious because there's a great story to be told? What would that be?
It might be too soon because I think like the original movie came out like in 98, but I think that time period is where the effects would have actually looked a lot better if they tried to adapt Spawn again, if they wanted to give it a second go.
Ooh, I love that one, dude. I love that one. You know, I was also thinking I've only seen this movie like twice in my lifetime. Because it's hard for me to want to go back and rewatch it. I think Daredevil.
Ooh, yeah.
I think the Ben Affleck Daredevil had some interesting stuff to it for sure. But I had they gone a little bit more of a darker tone for it, I wouldn't have minded seeing something along those lines. I don't know if maybe like full on Blade style, I think would have been pretty dope for something like Daredevil, to be quite frank with you. But that would be one that I would try and give another shot at. Add it a little bit more serious, a little bit more dark. But yeah, I love that. I love that. Man, I love that question. I love that answer of Spawn too. We're craving a Spawn movie, y'all. Come on, Todd McFarlane, let's make this happen, bro.
I forgot that was something that we've been talking about that. I want to say since I joined the channel, like we've been talking about how Todd McFarlane has like been working on a script and he wanted to direct the movie as well.
Yeah, I think he's given some liberties. Marcelino says, but Spawn and Daredevil is already dark and serious by nature. I'm referring to stuff like He-Man.
What you would want to see that's like not dark by nature. But,
to begin.
Okay.
I get you.
Boy. Okay. Not dark.
So are these things that have already been adapted before? Like, are we talking about like just IP from back in the day that is more lighthearted that we would have turned dark, or is this like? Do you mean like an IP that they've already done that we would want to do again?
I think like IP that was around in the 80s or superhero media and stuff that hasn't been adapted from the 2000s to 2010s, but would have worked with the type of tone, like tone. Yeah, with that. Okay, I got a funny answer. Okay, first of all, keep in mind I'm not a brony, but because I love how in like power metal, a lot of power metal, specifically like Glory Hammer, it's always like there's always like unicorns and stuff involved. I'm just now kind of like picturing like going with a dark, edgy, with a power metal soundtrack, My Little Pony live action movie.
I love it, dude. I love it. Maybe you could have taken like Teddy Ruxpin and turned him into like an evil mechanical bear. Maybe could have turned to like a horror slasher type of thing, kind of what they're doing now with a lot of the Pinocchios and turn that into one. I was thinking Darkwing Duck, but that's just a cartoon, but it was kind of on the superhero vigilante side, but I wouldn't have minded seeing Darkwing Duck kind of attempted. Yeah, man, that's a tough one, dude.
Oh, I just thought of one. There was I think it was College Humor. I could be wrong, but I think it was a College Humor fake trailer that they had for a Pac-Man movie. it was, if they did it with that exact tone, that's what I would have loved to have seen, like a dark, edgy Pac-Man movie. Like the best line in it. I don't know who it was, but we were saved by some sort of man, some sort of Pac-Man.
God, that's brutal. I'm sure if I had more time, I'll probably think of some other lighthearted IP that would have been interesting with the more dark, serious kind of treatment. Maybe it'll come to me as we go through the rest of these. But yeah, great question, Marcelino. Appreciate it. Tony Robinson, out of all the animated films that are coming out this year, which will break the box office? Oh, animated movies for 2026. Oops. I will say, oh man, okay.
Ooh, another Ice Age?
Definitely Toy Story 5 is gonna break the fucking internet. It's gonna break the world. I just know what it is.
Yeah, I think the best-selling animated movie, looking at everything. Ooh, okay. Actually, there's two. I could see two of them. Okay, I think it's either going to be Mario Galaxy, or if it does come out this year, Shrek 5. Because it's wait, that's slated for next year. Sorry, never mind. Scratch that. Okay, so definitely Mario Galaxy. I think is going to be the one that breaks the box office.
Yeah, I'll even throw in Toy Story 5. I think Mario Galaxy. Are the Minions still popular? I believe there's a Minions 3 that's coming out. I feel like the damn Minions make a ton of money all the time, but maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah, I don't know, because I feel like the Minions peaked when they had their first spin-off movie, and then after that, most of the kids that grew up on Despicable Me became adults. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but those probably be my 3 off the top of my head that I would assume. Marcelino also says Michael Bay originally wanted Transformers to be alien robots versus military with zero reference to the 80s cartoon.
That doesn't surprise me.
Tony Robinson says, do you think Hasbro will change their minds about adaptions and use the Gavin Infinity suits to relaunch VR Troopers? Oh, so you mean like the new Space Gavin series utilizing that to relaunch VR Troopers? Ooh. You know, we have been a very big proponent around here, at least I have been, of a VR Troopers relaunch. I mean, we're literally in the world of virtual reality right now. I think now is as best of a time to do it. Do I think that's a possible? I don't know if they will. Man, that's a tough one, because they've already decided, like, hey, we're not going to do Power Rangers anymore in regards to like the Western adaptation of things from Super Sentai. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, and I will say no because there's a part of me that thinks that Toei wants to keep ownership of their stuff at this point in time. And I think if anything, they probably would like to maybe have what they're creating as more of a Western expansion than having something else kind of, I don't want to say steal, but utilize what they are creating just for an Americanized version of it here. So I'm going to say no. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do hope that Hasbro does take the initiative to give us something VR Troopers related. But I think those days of adapting a Sentai series into American series, I think those days are over, at least with Toei involved.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could do something like that with like Ultraman if that studio is open to it. But no, I think Toei's going to try to avoid that.
Hey, if Toei is interested in adapting an Ultraman series, I got a fun pitch for Ultraman Z. Just saying.
Well, I think Ultraman is a different studio altogether. I don't think.
You're right.
Think it's Toei. I can't remember the name of the studio though. I do miss Ultraman. I did one review of the Ultraman series, and I love that series. And I wouldn't mind going back to it. Tony Robbins. I still have not watched this damn Gavin show though. I need to get on it.
Oh yeah, same.
Peg C gave me all the links and information. I think I sent it to you, Stewart. I think I did. But I haven't had the chance to check it out yet. Tony Robinson, due to unfortunate cancellation of Buffy New Sunnyvale, do you feel that other actors will be hesitant to want to reboot their classic shows if the studio decides to can it prematurely? I don't think so. I think each situation is just significantly different. I mean, look, this the cancellation didn't stop Firefly from returning. Granted, it's in the animation format, but they're still pushing kind of through. I don't think this will scare people from going off. I just think if anything, it'll just make they will just make more certain that they have the right script and they have the right people on board to make it successful. But I don't think it'll make people hesitant though. Let's see here. What else we got? Peg C. It was confirmed that Sarah Michelle Gellar that the planned sequel series, Buffy Vampire Slayer, is officially not moving forward. Do you think Netflix or some other streaming service can work on this sequel series?
It depends on if Disney, because the one reason I'm going to say no at the moment is because within the article we read, it does seem that Hulu still wants to hold on to the IP. Hulu, probably being Disney, still wants to hold on to the IP, so they probably still want to do another reboot in some way, shape, or form. It'll likely be more of a remake where they just start from scratch with the new Buffy and everything. So I would say that if that's their plan, probably not. But if Disney decides we don't really want to do anything with Buffy at the moment, I could see them selling the pilot to Netflix and then Netflix taking the show over. I could definitely see a possibility.
Let me see something here. So I just asked Google, can Disney pitch Buffy to another streaming service? It says yes, Disney can pitch Buffy to another streaming service, but it is unlikely as they own the IP through their 2019 acquisition of 20th Century Fox. While they have the ability to license it, Disney generally prefers to use its own platforms to house their intellectual property. So it is a possibility, but Disney very much wants to try and have full ownership of anything that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Disney should attempt to do a live action version of The Fox and the Hound? If done right, it can make a compelling movie. What do you think, Stu? Have you seen The Fox and the Hound?
Not in a long time. Yeah, I could see it working. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm always repeating myself when it comes to Disney live action movies. It would have to be, for it to work for me personally, it would have to be Disney completely stepping down from it and just letting the creators create.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say no. Just avoid that one. It's been nearly 50 years since the last major American live action Spider-Man television series. Wow. The last series from 1770, Jesus. From 1977 to 1979, the last live action Spider-Man TV series was The Amazing Spider-Man, which aired on CBS. It ran for 13 episodes across 2 seasons before being canceled. Other live action appearance before that, a live action Spider-Man appeared on the Spider-Man stories. We have the Japanese tokusatsu series also aired, and then the new series, a new live action series, Spider-Man. Yeah, what are your thoughts? That it's been nearly 50 years since the last major live action Spider-Man television series. What are your thoughts? I'm excited it's finally happening. It wouldn't surprise me if this is successful, if eventually down the road we get a little bit more live action Spider-Man series, whether that be different alternate versions of him from Into the Spider-Verse, or maybe at some point in time, I don't know, man. I don't know if we would ever get a Peter Parker in a television series, or maybe even a Miles Morales. I just think that those two characters are so big that they would just always naturally benefit from being on the big screen. I think, I do think sometimes I do think those characters might be too big for the small screen, if that makes sense. But I think if you can take other supporting characters and spin them off out of something like that, maybe you can make a television series. But I think Spider-Man is just one of those characters that might be too small, too big for the small screen. What do you think, though, Stu? Do you think we could ever have a Spider-Man television, like a current run of a Spider-Man, like a Peter Parker or Miles Morales television show?
I think it could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen so long as Peter Parker Spider-Man movies still make a crap ton of money in the box office. But I do think that eventually we're going to get to a point where like the Peter Parker and Miles Morales Spider-Man are not going to be like the big sellers that they currently are, and that's when I think it's a possibility we could get that in a television format. But I think that'll be years and years from now. So I'm talking like probably at the very least 15 years from now. So yeah, I don't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then last but not least, Jessica Fryman, do you think we could have gotten more past Ranger cameos in Once and Always? And do you think the new Captain Planet reboot will use the original theme song? P.S. Thanks for the shout out last week. Hey, anytime, Jessica. It's always good to see you around here. You've been a trooper with the channel, so we always got to show love and appreciation to those that have stuck around for as long as you have. Yeah, but do you think we could have gotten more past Rangers in Once and Always? And do you think the new Captain Planet reboot will use the original theme song? Ooh, those are some tough ones. You know, I'm going to say, I'll say yes to the Captain Planet theme song. It might be a little updated and revised, but I have a feeling that it's just so, it's like a generational theme song, it feels like to me. I feel like you got to keep the Captain Planet theme song, but so I'll say yes, but maybe just modernized a little bit.
I think it'll be like kind of used in kind of the similar ways that they've been using the Spider-Man theme song in every live action Spider-Man movie, how there's always like a character singing it, like whether it's in the background or whether it's like whether it's a ringtone on a phone. I think that's how they're going to utilize the Captain Planet theme song.
I was also thinking too, kind of like when you just said that, how they use the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song in the 2017 Power Rangers movie.
Oh, like, yeah, it might be right before they go into battle.
Yeah, like that.
I could, you know what's funny? I could see an orchestra version of it actually working pretty well, like in an epic fight. Dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
But as for the first part of the question, I wouldn't have wanted to see more Rangers specifically in Once and Always, because I think that the amount they had was perfect, one to match for each of the Overdrive Rangers. But I think you could have probably fit at least another cameo with another character that wasn't like a Ranger specifically. You know, like oh God, what was the commander's name from Lightspeed Rescue? Like him or Million. Yeah, a million other people.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded seeing one or two more cameos, but yeah, guys, I think that will do it for all of our live viewer questions today. So I apologize to everybody for getting this posted up so late for you guys to actually submit over questions, but I appreciate the ones that we did get. Pexi said, I just downloaded episode 5 of Space Sheriff Gavin. Gonna watch it tonight. Let us know what you think of it, man. We definitely we got to catch up, Stewart. We got to catch up. For sure.
I need to start watching it because, yeah, again, I really like just the way the show looks. I'm surprised because they seem to want to go for like kind of like a larger like global audience, but I don't know why they're not like airing it on YouTube like they're doing with Kamen Rider at the moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused by that. Also, I would have thought that was just like part of the plan as well, but I guess not. Yeah, guys, thank you everybody who certainly joined us here today. A shorter episode than most, probably because of the live viewer questions that we wind up getting here this week, but some great content certainly nonetheless. You guys can expect from us later on this week, definitely tomorrow, we're going to be having a live movie review for you guys as we discuss Undertone that just dropped this past week, so definitely tune into us 7 p.m. Central Time, as Stewart and I will talk about that movie, and maybe if I can catch one other movie maybe tonight, if I find something that's relatively new and fresh on streaming, maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow as well. I am expecting some type of trailer this week for either Spider-Man or Dune 3. If a Spider-Man trailer drops, we'll be doing a video for you guys in regards to a trailer review, but we'll probably also talk about it on Sunday's episode of A Plus Here Report as well. But yeah, Stewart, if people want to find you on social media, man, where can they find you at?
You guys find me on Instagram, Letterboxd, and TikTok at TurboStew01.
And if you want to follow us on social media, first I'll also say check out our TikTok over here at Hero Report. We've got over 3,300 subscribers over there. I might be posting my brief review for Undertone over there with my report card for it. I'll probably try and drop that, if not today, then maybe early tomorrow for you guys. And then we also do a bunch of trailers over there we drop, and we take clips of this show and we post it over on our TikTok as well. If you do want to follow us on other social media, very active over here at A Plus Opinions, especially on our Facebook page. Outside of YouTube, which is our main page, which I highly suggest you subscribe to and like and click the bell notification for, the other place would certainly be Facebook. We post updates all throughout the day to keep you up to date on a daily basis on all the news, breaking news, new revelations, trailers, behind the scenes stuff, posters, images. We keep you up to date on all the first look stuff over there. And then we take 6 topics from the Facebook page and we talk about them here live every Sunday for you guys at noon Central Time. But that'll do it for us here today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll certainly see you guys back later on this week. Until then, do us a big favor as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.